Chapter 21, Zombie Explosion. Naruto entered a zombie ID and looked around the decrepit world. Even though this was the second time he came here, the drastic changes in the atmosphere still threw him off, not that it mattered much since he had the gamer's mind. He exited his house and started searching for a street that could hold a zombie horde, but it had to be small enough so he could cover it in exploding tags. This would mostly be a test to see whether his plan worked or not, so he searched for an empty street and started to lay down his trap. There weren't any zombies nearby, so he had plenty of time to set up his trap. It took Naruto nearly an hour, but he managed to cover the ground and a bit of the walls of the surrounding buildings in exploding tags. While this may have been overkill, he needed to experiment to see how many seals he would need to kill an entire horde. Naruto looked at his work and smiled proudly. It took him a lot of time and resources to make this, so he wanted it to work. He headed out to a near street and found a lone zombie. He lured the zombie to the middle of the street filled with exploding tags and attacked it. The zombie could eventually not take it anymore and let out an ear-splitting screech. Shortly after, hundreds of other screeches and shouts sounded out. Naruto killed the zombie and then waited. This time he did not receive the zombie horde quest, which, while disappointing, wasn't that bad. He never expected to get it again. After waiting for 5 minutes, a horde comparable to the one he had seen last time started to slowly enter the street. The zombies at the front were all growling in his direction, some even salivating at his sight. Naruto started running away. He did not want to be anywhere close when this exploded, so climbed a large building that was a safe distance away. By the time he reached the top, the zombie horde had all entered the street. Naruto made a snake hand seal and all the papers started to simultaneously sizzle, indicating that they were about to blow up. Naruto only had to wait 3 seconds before a magnificent explosion engulfed the zombie horde and the surrounding buildings. The explosion lasted for a whole 10 seconds. Naruto marveled at his work. Explosions were truly a work of art. After the dust cleared, Naruto looked for the remains of the zombie horde, but all he could find was a ruined part of his village. There were large crates all around and huge holes in the side of buildings. He definitely did not need this many exploding seals, he mused on the inside. You have killed 240 zombies. You have gained 30,000 EXP. You have leveled up 3 times. You have lost the Academy student perk. Naruto sighed in disappointment. From now on he would get 25% less EXP, which was quite the decrease, but this also meant that he was getting stronger. Before Naruto could view his status screen, a scream that caused the earth to shake sounded out. Naruto's eyes widened as he stared at a zombie that dwarfed even the building that he was currently standing on, which was one of the taller buildings of Konoha. Definitely don't want to fight that, Naruto thought to himself as he exited the ID. Or at least tried to. You need to defeat the boss to exit the ID. He had forgotten about that. It looked like he had no choice but to fight that giant zombie, which had started moving towards Naruto. Naruto quickly used Observe on it and was impressed by its stats. Zombie King. LVL, 25. HP, 15,000. CP, 0. STR, 75. VIT, 150. Dex, 25. Int, 0. WIS, 0. Description: an undead being that can control all the zombies around it. It possesses fearsome physical strength, but its speed is its weakest point. To take down this beast means becoming the bane of low-level zombies. A zombie king. It was the strongest being that could appear inside a zombie ID, and Naruto had to beat it. He had a couple of explosive tags left, but he doubted they would be enough to take down a zombie with 15,000 HP. The only thing he could really do is hope that the couple explosive tags he had left did a lot of damage, and then he would have to chip away at its HP with shuriken and kunai. Once he ran out of those, all he could do was fight it with his sword. Naruto readied an explosive seal and attached it to a kunai. The zombie king was almost upon him, and it would soon be close enough for Naruto to throw it at one of its arms. The smartest thing to do would be to take away its legs and arms, so Naruto wanted to do just that. He threw his first kunai at the zombie's arm. The kunai dug into the zombie's arm and lodged itself deep enough to not fall out. Naruto did this to its other arm and its 2 legs. He had a total of 6 exploding seals, so he had to make sure they counted. He kept 2 to use for later and made some distance between himself and the giant zombie. Luckily, its low speed made it so that it was barely a threat to Naruto, as he could easily run away from it by moving between buildings and using sprint. Once Naruto got far enough, he made the 4 kunai explode. Sadly, just 4 were not enough to blow off the entire limbs. The arms were made immobile, but since its legs looked more muscled, they took less damage. The zombie still had the ability to walk, although it had slowed down even more. The zombie screamed in rage as it struggled to attempt to hit Naruto, who smirked at the giant zombie. Since he had killed all the surrounding zombies before the boss emerged, the boss did not have any minions to command, although Naruto did wonder why it hadn't spawned last time he fought the horde. Naruto didn't let the details distract him as he readied 2 more exploding kunai. He wanted to use them to attack its head, but taking away its mobility was of more importance. He threw the 2 kunai at the zombie's legs and managed to make them entirely unusable. Though still attached at places, it would most certainly not be able to move its legs. Zombie King HP. Naruto gave the command. 8,500/15,000. The zombie still had more than half of its HP left. Naruto threw a quick shuriken at the zombie and dealt 25 DMG. It would take him a while to take it down. Naruto eventually got the Zombie King's health down to 5,000. The Zombie King in the meanwhile rolled around madly trying to catch Naruto. Unluckily, Naruto seemed to have run out of shuriken and kunai to throw at the boss, so all he could do now was use his ninjato to kill it. Naruto climbed up a building and jumped onto the prone body of the zombie king. The zombie was laying down on its stomach, so Naruto wanted to take this chance to stab it in the back of its head. Naruto stabbed his ninjato down, tearing through the skin of the zombie. Sadly, its skull was far too thick for Naruto to cut through with his ninjato, so he instead went for its neck. Naruto dealt a total of 1000 DMG to the zombie before it managed to roll over, almost managing to squash Naruto. Naruto quickly climbed back on top of the zombie and continued his ruthless attacks to the zombie king's neck. The zombie king managed to roll over a total of 2 more times before Naruto dealt enough DMG to kill it. All in all, Naruto's first boss fight had been quite anticlimactic. It took a total of 2 hours for Naruto to finish off the boss. At least the rewards were good. You have killed the zombie king. You have gained 10,000 EXP, 3,000 Ryo, and 3 potions. You have leveled up. Naruto activated his inventory and grabbed one of the potions that had appeared in his inventory and used Observe on it. HP potion. Description: a potion a day keeps the doctor away. Drinking this potion will heal 1000 HP and heal all minor diseases. For people without the gamer's body, it will cure all minor diseases and will heal small to medium wounds like cuts and burns. Naruto grinned. He had gained an item that could save his life or someone else's if used correctly. He definitely needed to kill more of these zombie kings if they dropped potions. Status: Naruto wanted to see how much his stats had risen over the last couple of weeks that he had spent preparing the explosive seals. Status: Name: Uzumaki Naruto. Class: Zombie Hunter. HP: 15200/15200. CP: 27200/27200. LVL: 12. EXP: 7625/12000. Title: The Gamer. Money: 3800 Ryo. STR: 26. VIT: 152. Dex: 30. Int: 60. WIS: 24. Stat points: 60. HP regeneration: 1620/hour. CP regeneration: 340/hour. His status was around the same as a Jonin, except for his VIT and Int, which surpassed those of Chunin, though he did not know about Jonin since he couldn't look at their status just yet since their levels far surpassed his. Naruto left the ID quietly and quickly ran back home from the random alleyway he had appeared in. Chapter 22. Chapter 22, 1 year. Naruto spent most of his time in the academy and the rest of his days was usually spent training or going into an ID to hunt some zombies. He didn't really want to try fighting ghosts, so he left those alone. For now, the time he didn't spend training he was usually with someone else, like Shino or Sasuke. He also spent a lot of his time with the Hokage and dog who taught him different kinds of seals. Naruto's life was going on steadily and his power grew each day. Sadly, that couldn't be said for the rest of his classmates, as they needed time to grow and would eventually hit a bottleneck, while Naruto simply needed time and determination to grow infinitely. All in all, Naruto's life has been going great. He made actual friends, discovered that he had some family left, and became far stronger than he could have ever become. He was happy with his life. He was at the top spot of his class and he had almost already spent an entire year in the academy and would soon become a second year. Today was actually the day for the final examinations. The theoretical test was as easy as the first time Naruto had done it. The physical test was basically the same as the one in the entrance exam, and Naruto once again dominated and set new records, surpassing even the greatest geniuses like the 4th Hokage and Itachi Uchiha, who had been on the same level as the 4th. He had even gained some fangirls. Though he never really interacted with people outside of his friend group, he was friends with his entire class. The Akimichi and Nara duo were people he could always hang out with. Sakura Haruno was someone he never really talked to too much, as she always chased around Sasuke together with Ino, who while he could talk to didn't really enjoy hanging out with, as she only wanted to talk about girly things, which he wasn't really interested in. Hyuga Hinata was too quiet for him to be around. He never really interacted with her and she didn't really show interest in talking with anyone in their class. She was very much like her other clan members, although she did always look sad, which Naruto wanted to help with, but he never really got around to do it. Naruto, Sasuke, and Shino ranked top 3 in their class. Hinata came in 4th and Kiba was 5th. The rest of the rankings were sort of random, as sometimes clan kids while other times civilian kids would be ranked higher, although Shikamaru always ranked at the bottom since he was too lazy to give any effort in tests or examinations. Naruto's skills had all leveled up a bunch and he had even unlocked a few new types of IDs. IDs, Naruto thought in his mind. Current IDs. Empty ID. Zombie ID. Ghost ID. Ogre ID. Ninja ID. Serpent ID. Giant Wolf ID. Chakra Beast ID. These were all the IDs Naruto had unlocked. His ID create skill level was currently at 23 and he had only unlocked the Giant Wolf and Chakra Beast ID recently and had yet to try them out. The Ogre ID was one he enjoyed fighting in. The mobs ranged from level 5 to 10 with the boss being level 30. It was just a giant ogre with 4 hands. It dropped him potions and money, and weirdly a legendary item, one which he did not wish to talk about. The ninja ID was difficult for Naruto, as the ninja ranged from level 10 to 25 and they would attack Naruto in groups, so he struggled a lot in this specific ID. He had yet to even encounter the boss and he did not think that he would anytime soon. The Serpent ID was an interesting one. Mobs ranged from level 1 to 50, the lower level ones were quite weak, but any Serpent above level 30 gave Naruto a lot of trouble. He struggled fighting the slippery enemies and he had only encountered a level 50 once. It had the lower body of a snake and the upper body of a human. It carried a very sharp-looking spear, one which Naruto did not want to fight against. He was lucky enough to be able to observe it before it could notice him. Naga. LVL, 50. HP, 30,000. CP, 35,000. STR, 125. VIT, 300. Dex, 250. Int, 50. WIS, 10. Description: a fearsome monster that eats children for fun. Only two can exist in the same swamp and its mate is usually stronger than it. The male variant is often smaller and weaker than the female variant, which is the queen of the swamp. To hunt this being you have to be incredibly quick and flexible. When Naruto read its stats, he had immediately escaped from the ID since he did not want to risk his life fighting that thing. While he had almost the same amount of HP now, back then he would have definitely lost if he fought it. Naruto was currently level 25, he had tried observing Dog but it still did not work and for some reason Observe did not tell Naruto Dog's real name. He suspected that it was because he was still 50 levels below Dog and because Dog wished to hide his identity so Observe could not take any information from Dog. On a more impressive note, Naruto's intelligence had surpassed 100, and he had gained 2 new perks from it, one being Strong Memory and the other being Parallel Thought. They both did exactly as they were called. Strong Memory increased his memory and Parallel Thought allowed him to think 2 thoughts at the same time. It was very weird but he got used to it pretty quickly. It helped him with his training so he was happy to get it. Naruto's vitality had reached 285. At 200 he had gained the perk Enhanced Bones which made his bones stronger and denser than before. He had grown to become taller than everyone else in his class. The average height for his class was 4 foot. Most people in his class had already become 7 years old and there weren't any people under 4 foot tall. The tallest other than Naruto was Koji at 4 foot 2 while Naruto was 4 foot 5. Naruto was actually very tall. Unlike before he gained the power of the gamer. Back then he had been very small and he had grown rapidly. Chakra cooking and training helped a lot with growth which was visible now that he had grown a year older. His birthday had already passed which he spent at the Uchihas where he celebrated his birthday for the first time with someone he could actually call family. While he loved Hiruzen he did not think that Hiruzen was a good person since he had left him alone for many years, but he did see that Hiruzen was trying his best to make up for it. The hate of the villagers had become less and shops actually let him enter now instead of just kicking him out. A day very quickly passed for Naruto as he began his first day in his second year of the academy. Chapter 23. Chapter 23, Second Year. The academy only had 2 weeks of vacation for its students which were around the end of the year in December, though the final exams were usually around February or March depending on the progress of the students, so Naruto and his class didn't really get much time to get used to being second years. Naruto walked into a classroom and searched for his 2 friends who somehow always managed to get there earlier than him. He walked up to them and sat down. Sasuke grunted at Naruto and greeted him. "Hello there, Mr. First Place." Shino simply nodded at Naruto. Naruto grinned. "What, is your ass still sore after the kicking it received yesterday?" This managed to piss Sasuke off, evident by the tick mark on his forehead. Sadly for Naruto, before he could piss off Sasuke even more, the door to the classroom opened and Iruka entered the classroom. Iruka smiled at his class. He was glad that no one failed the tests and got held a year back. "Hello there, my second year students. This year we are going to start using our chakra to do some jutsu." The class erupted in excitement before Iruka could continue his explanation. Iruka's mouth twitched before he made a hand sign that caused his head to enlarge and his voice to amplify his own voice over the excitement of the class, effectively quieting the class down. Now that the class was quiet again, Iruka continued his explanation. "We will be learning the 3 main academy jutsu and some minor basic jutsus. You kids won't be learning any big jutsu just yet since you are too irresponsible." The class booed at that, but there wasn't much they could do about it, so they just accepted it. Iruka then continued on with their normal lessons. Since they were second years now, he would cover more topics and would go deeper into theory. They would also start getting survival lessons where they would be taught how to gather food in the wild and how to survive in the shinobi world. Much to the class's surprise, they were actually taught their first jutsu that day. While it was not a very big or exciting jutsu, it was a very useful one. The transformation jutsu was one that was used by all shinobi. While not perfect, it was one of the best ways to disguise one's leves, so a lot of ninjas used it to infiltrate place or to simply hide. It was actually quite easy for the class to learn the jutsu as many of them had spent a lot of time training their chakra control, Naruto included, so they managed to cloak themselves in chakra quite easily, although the actual disguise didn't look quite like anything just yet, especially in Naruto's case as it required precise chakra control, which he did not have. He had actually gotten a skill for the leaf concentration exercise but had only managed to get it to level 20, but that only increased his chakra control by 2% on top of what he was naturally capable of. Each level only gave a 0.1% increase and it took him a long time just to get it to level 20. Chakra control was the only thing holding him back at this point. This also reflected on his transformation jutsu as he was barely able to coat himself in chakra and only managed to change the color of himself slightly, which wasn't very helpful. If you compared Naruto to Sasuke and Shino in terms of chakra control, then he would be incredibly behind. Their chakra reserves were many times smaller than Naruto's even if you took both of their chakra reserves. So while Naruto had the advantage of having an insane amount of chakra, Shino and Sasuke had the advantage in learning techniques and controlling them. Of course, once the gamer system recognized that Naruto managed to learn the transformation jutsu and made it into a skill, he would be able to rapidly catch up to the two of them. After the academy ended, Naruto, Shino, and Sasuke all walked to Ichiraku together to eat some ramen. Naruto had introduced his two friends to Tuki and Ayam. When the Ichiraku duo found out that Naruto had made some actual friends, they were overjoyed and had given him and his two friends free ramen for an entire week. The trio sat down on the stools that were in front of the ramen stand as Tuki greeted them. Yo, Tukijiji. Good afternoon, Tuki-san. Hello, Tuki-san. They all greeted the smiling man as he took their orders and went to prepare them. They then started to talk between themselves while they waited for their ramen to be done. After a while, a quite weird subject was brought up by Sasuke. Lately my father and the clan have been acting really weird. They all disappear for hours weekly and everyone is being really secretive. I don't really know what's up with them, but I doubt that it's anything good. Sasuke told the other two. New quest. Save the Uchiha clan? Description: the Uchiha clan is in danger. The three elders and many civilians have been displaying displeasure at the presence of the Uchiha clan of the village, with many of them demanding that the Uchiha are to be exiled from Konoha. Your job is to make sure this does not happen, improve the reputation of the Uchiha clan, or take down the ones spreading rumors. Rewards: 100,000 EXP, Fire Jutsu Scroll, 50,000 Ryo, Chakra Enhanced Kunao Set. Failure condition: the Uchiha clan gets exiled. Death. Accept. Y/N. Naruto read the quest without a change in his expression. He had trained a lot in managing to keep his expressions in check in order to not raise any suspicion about his special ability, and it seemed that it was a good thing that he did, because he was very, very mad right now. He didn't want to drag Sasuke or Shino into this, so he kept silent about it. He needed to talk to the Hokage about this, and soon. For now Naruto acted as if nothing happened and ate ramen with his friends. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. Manipulation? Naruto's first order of operation would be to figure out who were dissatisfied about the presence of the Uchiha clan, and then he would need to figure out a way to either appease those people or have the Hokage take care of them. Naruto was not capable of taking care of such a task just by himself, so he first needed the support of the Hokage. If he could get that, then he could make different plans to deal with those that want the Uchiha clan to be exiled. The Uchiha clan was in a very bad situation. The general populace did not trust them, and the ninja force of Konoha did not like their arrogance either. The Uchiha clan needed to rapidly improve their relationships with the general populace and lower-ranked shinobi. Naruto first met with Dog. He told him that he wanted to meet with the Hokage and that it was an urgent matter. So currently Naruto was sitting at a table with the Hokage in his office. While Naruto couldn't tell whether there were any others in the room, he needed to trust the Hokage this time around. Hiruzen looked at Naruto, who was sitting opposite of him. He had been very proud of what the boy had achieved in a single year. It was clear that he was a genius, and that boy now sat in front of him with a very conflicted expression. Naruto, my boy, you look conflicted. Tell me what's bothering you. Hiruzen inquired. Naruto sighed deeply and started explaining. It concerns the Uchiha clan. If possible, I would like to speak to you one-on-one. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow but motioned for his Umbu to leave the room. They were now truly alone, but for extra safety, Naruto took out a silencing seal which would apply to a 2-meter circle around the seal. If you were outside of that seal, you wouldn't hear a single thing of what was being said inside the circle. Hiruzen grew a bit concerned, but before he could say anything, Naruto started talking. I don't want the Uchiha clan to be exiled, so please help me in making sure that my only family left over stays in the village. Naruto decided to be straightforward. There was no way he would be able to trick the Hokage into helping him, and he couldn't think of any other way to convince the Hokage to help him, other than guilt-tripping him. Hiruzen's eyes widened in shock. What Naruto just said was supposed to be a secret only known between the upper echelons of Konoha, yet a mere academy student was aware of what the civilians and various clans were demanding. Naruto took Hiruzen's silence as denial and grew slightly desperate. Please, Hokage Jiji, they're the only family I have left. Naruto knew that what he was doing was morally wrong, but the Hokage had pretty much manipulated him as well. While Hiruzen was someone he greatly appreciated compared to what the Uchiha family held for Naruto, manipulating Hiruzen seemed worth it in Naruto's eyes. To make it even more believable, Naruto forced Gamer's mind to display sadness as tears slowly started to trickle down his cheek. Hiruzen panicked. He knew that Naruto was aware of his relation to the Uchihas, but he did not expect Naruto to grow this attached. While he felt responsible for Naruto and felt guilty for how he treated him, there was still a part of Hiruzen that prioritized the health of the village above all. He subconsciously weighed the pros and cons of helping Naruto and keeping the Uchiha around, or listening to the minor clans and civilians. But when he looked into Naruto's eyes and saw the sadness hidden behind those teary cerulean blue eyes, the guilt he felt for not being the one sacrificing himself to seal the Kyuubi, the guilt he felt for allowing Danzo to become what he was today, for failing his students, and for failing Naruto came to hit his rational mind in full force, and he simply couldn't say no to the boy. Hiruzen sighed deeply. I will see what I can do. I cannot make you any promises, but I will try my hardest to make sure that the Uchiha are not exiled. Naruto smiled inside his mind, and dried his teary eyes. He showed a weak smile to the Hokage and thanked him. Hokage, I actually thought of a few things that could help. I found out about the rumor of the Uchiha getting exiled through some merchants who were gossiping about it. I doubt that you would want the Uchiha to be exiled, so I can only think that it's someone on the inside trying to weaken Konoha, Naruto told Hiruzen with small sniffs in between his sentences. Hiruzen actually saw some truth in Naruto's words. If the Uchiha were to be either exiled or exterminated, then Konoha would lose an important part of their history and would lose an incredible amount of firepower, as a single Uchiha Jonin could make up for a whole team of normal Jonin. The clan head was a cage-level ninja and his wife was easily an S-rank ninja as well. His two sons also showed incredible promise, as they both showed talent unseen since the time of Madara Uchiha himself. And one of the people who were very vocal about their exile was Shimura Danzo, a person who, while wished the best for Konoha, was a very selfish person who wanted any and all threats to be taken care of. This most likely included the Uchiha. So Hiruzen decided to listen to what Naruto had to say. Very well, I will listen to your ideas, Naruto. Naruto smiled for real this time. First of all, the Uchiha are not very well trusted by the civilians of Konoha, so the first thing that has to be done is to increase the trust that the civilians hold in the Uchiha clan. This can be done by establishing shops and moving Uchiha into the center of the village. If we put up a shop that is manned by nice Uchiha, then the image of the Uchiha clan could be improved in the eyes of the civilians. The main problem is with the arrogance that some Uchiha hold. We could have some Uchiha Jonin take up the position of teaching genin, and some could even join Umbu. If that happens, then we should definitely see improvements in the image of the Uchiha. Hiruzen was once again impressed by the genius that Naruto held. There was such a simple solution right in front of his nose, but he had instead decided to listen to Danzo, who considered everything that wasn't directly under his control a threat to Konoha. That had been a grave mistake on Hiruzen's part. While what Naruto said wasn't perfect, it was a great idea. If he could have some Nara look over the plan and make sure that there wouldn't be any backfire, then he could definitely make things work. Naruto and Hiruzen spent the next couple of hours discussing various ideas, many of which impressed Hiruzen, while Naruto managed to gain 4 points of wisdom and 2 points of intelligence. All that needed to happen now was for their plans to be strengthened and for them to be put into action, and of course, they needed the cooperation of the Uchihas, but Naruto was confident in convincing them to work with their plans. Chapter 25. Chapter 25, Execution of the Plan. The first thing that the Hokage did was publicly announce and thank the Uchiha clan for their contributions from the various wars and thanked them for their actions in the Nine Tails attack. Then he also announced that the Uchiha police force had been changed to the Konoha police force, and anyone with the status of genin or higher was eligible to join. Of course, the Hokage first spoke with Fugaku and the elders of the Uchiha clan along with Shikaku Nara. They covered up that Naruto was the one to come up with the plan, since most people would not listen to a 7-year-old Jinchuriki. The Uchiha had also started to act. They opened their clan compound to public visits, which showed that they were accepting of civilians, and even opened up a general shop and bakery on the main road of Konoha. Several Uchiha Jonin joined the Umbu, and some even took genin teams. Meanwhile, in the background, an old man with an X-shaped scar on his chin was fuming. Danzo had never expected his plans to fail this badly. He expected an easy victory against Hiruzen, who would then agree with the extermination of the Uchiha. He would then gain the eyes of that brat Shisui and would be powerful enough to take over Konoha. Unfortunately for him, a change had occurred in Hiruzen, and Hiruzen started opposing his ideas and even allowed several Uchiha to set up shop in influential spots in Konoha, which improved the civilian image of the Uchiha. This also caused the civilian council to stop supporting Danzo in his endeavors. All in all, Naruto's plan was a massive success. While still a plan in progress, it was working fantastically. The Uchiha were now viewed in a brighter light than even the Hyuga, who always acted stuck up compared to the amiable Uchiha clan. A couple of months passed along with Naruto's birthday, where he got a few presents. A loud ding sounded out in front of Naruto. A/N, since people thought that the rewards were not enough, I bumped them up a bit. I didn't want to give him too many rewards, so this is all he's getting. I'm also too lazy to go back and change it, so, yeah. Save the Uchiha clan? Description: the Uchiha clan is in danger. The 3 elders and many civilians have been displaying displeasure at the presence of the Uchiha clan of the village, with many of them demanding that the Uchiha are to be exiled from Konoha. Your job is to make sure this does not happen, improve the reputation of the Uchiha clan, or take down the ones spreading rumors. Rewards: 500,000 EXP, Fire Jutsu Scroll, 100,000 Ryo, Chakra Enhanced Kunao Set. Failure condition: the Uchiha clan gets exiled. Death. Naruto gained a giant grin on his face when he saw it and even cheered out loudly. He was lucky he was alone. He immediately ran to the Uchiha clan compound and ran to Suzuki's house. He knocked on the door of the mansion and impatiently waited. When he saw that Mikoto opened the door, he immediately jumped at her and embraced her. Mikoto was shocked for a second before she smiled and embraced Naruto. She didn't know what happened, but she could tell that he was incredibly happy, so she was happy as well. Fugaku also came out to the entrance. He saw what was happening and smiled at the sight of his nephew and wife hugging each other. The life of his family had been getting better and better, and he had never been so glad at a plan working out. Naruto spent the rest of his day with the Uchihas and even slept at their house. He had become practically best friends with both Sasuke and Shino. He could always count on them and vice versa. While at the moment he was far stronger than the both of them combined, he knew that they would grow up to be incredibly strong. But now it was time for Naruto to check out his rewards. The first thing Naruto looked at was his status. Status Naruto thought, and a blue screen appeared in front of him. Status. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Class, Zombie Hunter. HP, 42500/42500. CP, 76800/76800. LVL, 39. EXP, 21,000/40,000. Title, The Gamer. Money, 130,800 Ryo. STR, 49. VIT, 425. Dex, 48. Int, 148. WIS, 47. Stat points, 195. HP regeneration, 4350/hour. CP regeneration, 570/hour. Naruto still couldn't believe how high his VIT was. For comparison, Iruka had 87 VIT. If a Chunin who admittedly was on the weaker side had so little VIT, then Naruto was simply a beast. He could already train for hours without tiring, but now he could probably keep going for days. New perk gained? You have surpassed 300 VIT. You can combine your previously gained perks for a potentially better one or get a new potentially weaker perk. Accept, Y/N. Naruto was presented with a choice. He could choose to get one perk that could potentially be better than the perks he had currently, or get a normal perk. It was an easy choice for Naruto. He chose yes. Combining tough-skinned, dense muscles, and enhanced bones. Complete. A new perk has been created. Enhanced body. Description: your body has grown accustomed to chakra. Your body is now stronger than that of a normal person. Your physical stats benefit you more, and it is easier for you to learn and adapt. Your body automatically adapts to any situation and biome. It is easier for you to control chakra than for a normal person. Because of your enhanced body, you no longer require sleep to produce growth hormones. Meditation will produce the same effects. Naruto groaned in pain. He felt as if his entire body was lit on fire. It felt as if there were thousands of fiery ants crawling through his body. A putrid black substance was secreted from his body, which slowly disappeared. Naruto had never before felt that amount of pain. His entire body felt different. He felt stronger than before and could even sense the chakra in his surroundings. Because of your enhanced body, you have gained a new perk. Chakra Sensor. Description: you can passively sense chakra. Your current max range is 250 meters, which can be improved with practice. Naruto breathed deeply. His entire body was sweating. He calmed down and inspected his status again. The stats didn't change, but it was as if he instinctually knew that a stat point gave him more power than it would someone else. Naruto silently got out of bed and went to wash himself. He no longer needed sleep apparently. He washed himself and laid back down on his bed and started meditating. His meditation skill was at level 28, and he felt that if he leveled it up high enough, something special would happen, so he was actually kind of glad that he no longer needed to sleep. He decided that he would check the rest of his rewards tomorrow. He was too tired to care at the moment. Chapter 26. Chapter 26. Fireball Z. After Naruto meditated for a few hours, he got up and went to wash himself again. His body wasn't aching anymore and it felt a lot stronger than before. Last night he was too distracted to check out the rest of his rewards, so decided to do that. But first, he would have breakfast with his family. Itachi, Fugaku, and Mikoto were already wide awake while Sasuke was still grumbling about waking up so early. Itachi and Naruto had a weird relationship. They were always comfortable in each other's presence, but they could never really talk that much. At most they spoke a couple of cryptic words of wisdom to each other and went back to complete silence. Not that Naruto minded. He knew that Itachi had very different views from other people and was a generally calm and silent person, so he didn't mind not talking with him. The family of five had breakfast quietly and went on to do their own things. Sasuke and Itachi went out to train together. Fugaku went to do his duties as Konoha police chief, and Mikoto went to do whatever she did on weekends. She never wanted to tell Naruto. Naruto also decided to head home. Although walking around the village felt very different now, just running on the top of buildings he could already feel hundreds of presences below him. While he couldn't tell their exact location just yet, he knew that with enough practice he could learn how to pinpoint the exact location of someone even with hundreds of other chakra signatures around. Naruto could also feel larger chakra signatures running around. He figured those were the ninja of Konoha. He could see several genin that had around 40 times as much chakra as an adult civilian. The chunin he had seen surpassed them even more. Observe didn't give Naruto an exact number as his own status did, but stats still gave the same amount of chakra to a person, so he could make a rough estimate of how much chakra a person had. For example, a civilian had around 10 VIT and 10 int on average, which would give them 2000 chakra to use, but since most civilians never used chakra in their lives, their bodies would get used to not using it, so they would at most be able to use 200 chakra effectively, and training wouldn't help much either. Genin, on the other hand, had around 40 VIT and int on average, which would give them around 8000 chakra to use, and since their bodies were used to using chakra, they would be able to use all 8000 chakra effectively. This also reflected on their chakra signatures. The chakra signature of a civilian would only show around 200 chakra, making their signatures hard to detect and to differentiate. Now Chunin had stats of around 90 on average, while their wisdom varied depending on the person. This would give them 18,000 chakra to use, and this made them easy to detect for Naruto since their signatures could be compared to stars if you compared them to civilians. Naruto arrived home after testing his sensing for an hour or so and went to sit down. He opened up his quest menu where he usually received his rewards. You have received a Fire Jutsu Scroll, 100,000 Ryo, and a Chakra-enhanced Konoha set. The Ryo had already been added to his status when he completed the quest, and the other 2 items appeared in his inventory, which he opened and swiftly took out said items. A large red scroll and a black Konoha holster holding 10 Konoha appeared on the table in front of him. The scroll gave off a faint fiery chakra that burned Naruto's senses. Naruto touched the scroll and a blue screen appeared in front of him. Would you like to absorb Fire Jutsu Scroll Y/N? Naruto steeled himself in case anything happened and clicked yes. Absorption starting. Warning, the information contained in the scroll is vast, the user may feel varying degrees of pain. As soon as he read the message, a faint burning sensation appeared in his mind. It felt as if the information was being burned into his mind. He was glad that his pain resistance skill was effective, although it still hurt. It was nothing compared to what his body had gone through. You have learned Fireball Jutsu, LVL1. You have learned Flame Spear Jutsu, LVL1. You have learned Fox Fire Jutsu, LVL1. You have learned Great Fire Annihilation Jutsu. Because of the large amount of fire-type chakra present in the absorbed scroll, your body has adapted to fire-type chakra and you have gained an affinity for fire. Current chakra affinities, wind, fire. Naruto received tens of notifications. With just one use of a scroll he managed to learn a bunch of fire release jutsu, and even gained an affinity for fire. It seemed that the gamer system was even stronger than he thought it was. If it could grant him affinities, then it could also be possible that it could grant him bloodlines, which would make him even stronger. Naruto read through the list of fire jutsu, but the one that caught his eyes the most was the last one, Great Fire Annihilation. Naruto clicked on the jutsu and read its description. Great Fire Annihilation Jutsu. CP requirement, 30,000 per use. Description: shoot out a blast of flame that can destroy entire battalions. This jutsu must be used with caution as it leaves the user dehydrated of both water and chakra. Naruto's eyes widened at the ridiculous amount of chakra that this jutsu required. He would at most be able to use it twice and would be left with barely any chakra to use. He realized that the few jutsu he had learned before were nothing compared to this. Naruto also clicked on another jutsu to check how much chakra it used. Fireball Jutsu. CP requirement, 250 per use. Description: shoot out a ball of flames 2.5 meters wide. The more chakra you pump into the jutsu, the larger the ball will expand. Be cautious, if you can't control the fireball it will explode in your face. Naruto was glad that he also learned some jutsu that took much less chakra to use. While he wouldn't be able to practice them in public, he could level them up in the ID. This would most certainly make it easier for him to level up. Chapter 27. Chapter 27, Extra Points. Naruto decided to check out the chakra-enhanced Konohas next. With a quick observe they revealed their powers and Naruto was quite satisfied with them. Chakra-enhanced Konoha. Rarity, rare. Description: a Konoha that was forged by using chakra smithing. It is much stronger than normal Konoha and can even cut through rocks and other Konoha easily. By channeling chakra through the Konoha it can be made sharper and stronger than before. He also observed the Konoha holster since he also felt chakra coming from it. Konoha holster. Rarity, rare. Description: a Konoha holster that was made by a master. It has been enchanted. It can summon back any Konoha that has been put in it and has been imprinted with the owner's chakra. It allows you to resummon a Konoha from any distance. One of Naruto's worries had been calmed. While Konoha were nice, they would often be lost during battle, as in many cases you needed to throw them at your enemy as either a distraction or even a way to kill an opponent, so Naruto was certainly happy with this pouch. With that he was done checking out his rewards and started getting ready for the day. The finals for the second year were almost upon him. Not that he was worried. He knew that he far surpassed all academy students and was comparable to above average genin. Of course, his chakra and vitality most likely surpassed that of even Jonin, although he was not sure yet. Naruto headed to the academy and met up with Sasuke and Shino. Shino had recently been training a lot, so they barely had any time to spend with each other, but this also meant that Shino had become a lot stronger than before. He was motivated to surpass Naruto, so he worked harder than he would ever have. Sasuke had been trying his hardest to catch up with Naruto, but Naruto seemed to simply grow stronger every single day, which he was not capable of. Shino and Sasuke both knew that Naruto was keeping a secret from them, but they didn't mind since they trusted each other enough to know that they would never try to hurt each other with secrets. Hey, Naruto. Kiba, the ever-hyperactive kid of their class, ran up to the three of them and greeted Shino and Sasuke as well. Hello, Kiba-san. Shino replied in his cool and calm voice. Sasuke greeted similarly while Naruto replied energetically. Kiba grinned at the three and spoke, as you guys know, the end of the year exams are coming up, and to get extra points for the class we have decided to all learn a jutsu. The academy only gave us the transformation jutsu to learn by the end of the year, but if we can all manage to learn the body replacement jutsu or the clone jutsu, then we can gain higher grades. This caught the three boys' attention, who wouldn't want to get extra points after all. They still had 15 minutes before Iruka arrived, and they were the last ones to arrive, so Kiba and Naruto's group walked to the front of the class. Seeing that not everyone noticed them, Naruto decided to attract their attention. Naruto took a deep breath and shouted, "Everyone pay attention." This shocked the class into silence as they thought that Iruka had arrived without any of them noticing. Now that they had the class's attention, Kiba started explaining what they were planning to do. After explaining their plan, the class immediately became excited. Some of them were quite below the average and wanted to bump up their grades a little, so they were all determined to get the extra points. They all decided to keep it a secret and would meet up after school in small groups to go to the academy library in order to get the body displacement and clone jutsu. The day quickly went by and Naruto together with Kiba, Sasuke, and Shino headed to the academy library. The library was guarded by a Chunin at all times as it contained some jutsu that Konoha didn't want to be spread around to everyone, so they placed a Chunin to look over it. The Chunin actually looked quite surprised to see the four of them at the library since most academy students never bothered to go to the library for some reason. The Chunin told them that they were only allowed to go to the student section and were not allowed to go into the genin section as those were only accessible by becoming a genin of Konoha. The four of them quickly went inside and found the two jutsus easily. All four of them already knew how to perform the transformation jutsu. In fact, most of the class knew how to do it, so they would not have any problems learning the other two basic academy jutsu. The clone jutsu was quite basic in theory. You simply needed to pump out a low amount of chakra and form it after yourself. The hard part was controlling the chakra once it was outside your body. For the body displacement jutsu, you simply needed to send out a pulse of chakra and perform the specific sequence of hand signs correctly, and the jutsu would work by itself. The only thing you needed to extensively practice was pulsing your chakra to touch the objects in your surroundings and getting the timing right, and of course, landing properly. Naruto swiftly made 4 copies of each book and put it in his sealing scroll. The Chunin wouldn't allow them to take the books with them, so this was the easiest way to trick him. Of course, in case it didn't work, Naruto put it in his inventory while disguising it as if he put it in his sealing scroll. Though it seemed his worries were unneeded as the Chunin let them go without even checking the scroll. While the others were talking to each other, Naruto sneakily took out the copies from his inventory and handed them to the others. For now, Naruto had to act as if he was trying to learn the technique by doing it, and after an hour of training together they all went home. Once home, Naruto took out the copies that he made. Do you want to learn body displacement jutsu Y/N? Do you want to learn clone jutsu Y/N? Naruto clicked yes on both and learned the 2 jutsus just like that. All he had to do now was practice them. Chapter 28. Chapter 28, The New Legendary Team. Naruto and his friends spent a few hours every day training with each other. Naruto knew all 3 of the basic academy jutsu along with a few others like start a campfire jutsu and rope escape jutsu. Though the last 2 were so easy that the system didn't even give him the option to learn it through the system, so he had to spend 5 minutes actually learning the technique. As for the other academy ninjutsu, he had learned and leveled them up quite a bit, although the clone jutsu was leveling up very slowly. The transformation jutsu was already at level 30. It seemed that he was quite good at transforming himself. Body displacement was also leveling along nicely. His other skills were also leveling quite well, especially meditation, since he used it for 6 hours every night. He was getting close to level 50, currently being at level 43. Sasuke and Shino managed to also learn the 3 basic academy ninjutsu. They had experience learning their clan's techniques and had better chakra control than the rest of the class, which made learning the academy ninjutsu extremely easy for them. The rest of the class had also managed to at least get basic mastery over 2 of the academy ninjutsu, the clan kids managing to do so far easier than the kids that were not from a clan. Naruto's birthday had passed and he was now 8 years old. He had 5 more years left of the academy. He passed into the 3rd year at the top of the class with full marks in everything, Sasuke and Shino not far behind him. As for the best kunoichi in class, it was undoubtedly Hinata. She was a brutal fighter and none of the girls wanted to fight her since she beat them all up. The only thing that she was surpassed in was chakra control, where Sakura managed to surprisingly surpass her, but that wasn't that surprising seeing her meager chakra reserves. Sadly, Hinata did not make friends with anyone. She was a reserved person and due to some complications with her family she became cold and detached from the people around her. This also made her a bit unlikable to others. With that, 3 years passed by very quickly. Naruto, Shino, and Sasuke far surpassed anyone in the academy and everyone knew this, so the teachers at the academy proposed an idea to the Hokage. They wanted the 3 to form a special team much like the one of the legendary Sunin. To do that they wanted the 3 boys to graduate early. Naruto was not happy with that. His strength was comparable to that of a Chunin, but he still had 2 years left to grow. He had made some plans and this would throw a wrench in them. Sadly for Naruto, he couldn't do much about it as the Hokage agreed to the plan and the 3 boys were going to be tested. Shino and Sasuke were elated. They felt like the academy was holding them back. Of course, they were unaware of their soon-to-be teammates' displeasure. The 3 would be tested harder than any of the recent graduates, so they were given a week to prepare themselves. Iruka looked at the 3 boys standing in front of him. He was extremely proud of the trio. They far surpassed any expectations he had set for them and deep down he knew that Naruto was strong enough to defeat him. I am extremely proud of you guys. I never imagined that I would have not one but 3 genius students. It feels like I've already accomplished my teaching career. I am positive that you guys will pass the test, so do not let me down. Iruka spoke encouraging words to the 3 boys. Naruto, while he was unhappy with the situation, wanted what was best for his family and he knew that the academy couldn't help them out anymore, so he decided to do his best to help his 2 brothers out. The first test was a basic academic test that covered all 8 years of the academy, then there was a theoretical battle simulation, and now would be the Taijutsu, Ninjutsu, and Shurikenjutsu test. They first started with Shuriken Jutsu. They had to hit 25 moving targets while they themselves were moving. Shino had the most difficulty in this one. Sasuke's Sharingan made it look like it was a cakewalk, and Naruto's level 74 Shuriken Jutsu was more than enough to take care of a few targets. Next was Taijutsu. They would each have to spar against a Chunin and would either have to defeat the Chunin or survive for 5 minutes. Naruto didn't care about holding back. Everyone was already aware of his strength, so trying to hide it now would be a little too late. Naruto's strength, vitality, and agility were better than that of the Chunins, and his training with Gai-sensei throughout the years made his Taijutsu extremely deadly. He easily took down the Chunin, his level 67 Taijutsu ensuring his victory. But the thing that Naruto truly was a genius at was Funjutsu and Kenjutsu being at level 89 and 78 respectively. Sadly, he wasn't allowed to use a sword as it was a pure Taijutsu battle. Shino was a deadly close-range fighter. He had spoken with his father and had gotten his clan's most deadly insects, the Rinkaichu. They were nano-sized venomous insects that ate through the cells of anyone that Shino touched. This made him even deadlier than Naruto at Taijutsu. For now, the Chunin was easily defeated and brought into heel as Shino was told not to hold back by the Chunin himself. Quite a stupid mistake, Naruto thought. Sasuke's fight was a high-speed intense battle, but he seemed to have drawn the short stick as his Chunin enemy was strong, and he couldn't defeat him. But he managed to last for over 5 minutes, so that wasn't that big of a deal. The next part of the exam was ninjutsu. They had to demonstrate the 3 basic academy ninjutsu and 1 jutsu of their own choosing. All 3 of them showcased high mastery over the basic academy ninjutsu and over their chosen ninjutsu. Sasuke was the first one to go up. He decided to go with a jutsu that was a tradition in the Uchiha clan, the Great Fireball Jutsu. He had struggled a lot to perform the jutsu, so he was proud of what he achieved. A giant fireball spewed out of Sasuke's mouth, scorching the training field. The Chunin that were supervising the test were impressed. They knew that producing such a large fireball took a lot of chakra, so they knew that Sasuke had worked hard to get to where he was. Next was Shino. He performed a secret technique with his Rinkaichu. The skin on Shino's hand turned dark purple and a ball of smoke gathered in between his hands. Extreme secret jutsu, Poison Cloud Jutsu. The ball of poisonous smoke shot out at the 3 wooden posts in front of him. The smoke screen covered around 10 meters of space, and when it cleared, the wooden posts were gone. The smoke had eaten through it. If that hit an enemy, it would 100% of the time be fatal. The Chunin were once again impressed. They looked forward to what Naruto would show them. Naruto already knew what jutsu he was going to perform. At first, he thought about Great Fire Annihilation, but that would have been overkill, so he decided to use a smaller but still impressive jutsu. He gathered the air in his lungs and performed the jutsu. Fire Release, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. The dragons of flame exited Naruto's mouth. The flaming dragons flew at the ground as they coiled around each other and exploded in a magnificent show of power. The Chunin were amazed at the 3 boys. They had just performed a C and 2B ranked ninjutsu. Even the Chunin had to use these kinds of jutsu sparingly, but the 3 boys didn't even look winded. It was safe to say they had passed. Chapter 29. Chapter 29, Jonin Sensei. The Hokage was looking out of the window in his office that overlooked the village. He had just watched Naruto and his friends easily pass the graduation test. He was now contemplating who to have as their Jonin instructor. Kakashi would be a great teacher for the 3. Sadly, his strength is required in other places. The situation in Kiri and with Kumo acting up, I can't allow someone of Kakashi's caliber to teach Genin, although there is one person that can do it. Yes, he will be fine, Hiruzen thought to himself. With the team's Jonin instructor decided, it was time for the Hokage to get back to the never-ending paperwork. His hands ached at just the thought of it. Naruto, Sasuke, and Shino decided to go out to eat at a newly established barbecue restaurant called Yakiniku-Q. They heard that it was a great place for celebrations, so they decided to go there instead of going to Ichiraku. The 3 sat down and ordered their food, and started talking about their future. From here on out we will have to work even harder. The world is filled with dangerous people, and with who we are, I doubt that some villages won't try to assassinate us. We will always have to be vigilant, and we have to grow stronger than anybody else, Naruto said. Sasuke and Shino agreed with Naruto. Their parents had already told them the things that would happen when they graduated early, so they were ready for anything. There is no doubt that we have to work hard, but I do have a question that has been plaguing my mind recently. Would you mind answering my question, Naruto? Naruto's sweat dropped. Shit. Go ahead, ask away, Naruto responded. Shino then asked a question that Naruto did not want to answer. We have been working just as hard, if not harder than you, yet it seems that we are never able to catch up with you. Quite frankly, your growth rate is terrifying. I wonder why that is. Naruto sighed, quite possibly the biggest sigh of his life yet. I guess it's time to tell you guys, huh? Sasuke and Shino looked a bit confused. I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Naruto said. Silence permeated through the closed-off room of the restaurant. Sasuke and Shino knew that Naruto had been hiding something, but not this. Sasuke chuckled. That certainly explains the amount of chakra you have. Shino nodded in agreement. I expected you guys to have a lot worse reaction, but you guys took it quite well, Naruto said / asked. What, you thought that just because you have a tailed beast sealed in you, we would hate you or something? Sasuke asked. Well, I was quite afraid of that, yes, Naruto confirmed his suspicion. Don't be stupid, we have spent over 6 years together, we are brothers in all but blood, Shino admonished Naruto. Naruto rubbed the back of his head while grinning. He didn't like lying to his friends, but no one could know about the gamer system, not even his friends. The three continued talking for some time before heading back to their homes. They were going to meet their Jonin sensei tomorrow, so they had to be ready. Naruto got out of his meditative state and looked at the meditation skill. Meditation, LVL 99. Description: achieving inner peace. Meditation replaces sleep and improves the regeneration rate of chakra. At a high enough mastery, it is possible to become one with nature. Improves regeneration rate by 90%. The skill was almost level 100 and Naruto felt that something special would happen once he reached it. For now, though he had a Jonin sensei to meet, Naruto set out to training ground 9 where he and the rest of his team would meet with their Jonin sensei. Naruto arrived there first and only had to wait 20 minutes for Sasuke and Shino to show up. Since all three of them showed up early, they decided to do some training before their sensei arrived. While the three were training, they could see a large dust cloud approaching them. A figure jumped out of the cloud and landed in front of the three with a loud bang. "Youth!" the figure screamed. Sasuke and Shino looked at the scene wide-eyed. Naruto laughed at their faces and greeted their Jonin instructor. "Hello there, Guy sensei." "Hello there, my youthful students. It's nice to see you training with such youth," Guy said. "It is, isn't it? I didn't expect you to be our sensei." Naruto spoke. Guy nodded at what Naruto said. "Originally I got a mission and was stationed around Konoha due to recent developments with Sunagakure, and since I would be around for most of the year, it was decided that I would be your Jonin sensei, so from now on we are Team 9. The most youthful genin team of Konoha. Now why don't we start off with some introductions?" Guy continued. "I am Konohagakure's green beast of prey, might Guy. I am an elite Jonin and the foremost expert of taijutsu in all of the elemental nations. I am also the most youthful person in Konoha. My hobbies are training and I have already achieved my dream." Naruto smirked. Sasuke and Shino's expressions were truly amusing to look at. Naruto decided to go next. "I am Uzumaki Naruto. I enjoy eating ramen, hanging out with my friends and training. My dream for the future is to become the strongest shinobi ever and to protect those I care for." Sasuke and Shino had calmed down from the shock of meeting Guy for the first time and introduced themselves. "I am Sasuke Uchiha. I like tomatoes, my family, and friends, and I like training. My dream is to become the greatest Uchiha to ever exist and perhaps even become the first Uchiha Hokage." Sasuke introduced himself. "I am Abarame Shino. I like insects and my friends. My dream is to collect every single type of insect in the world and to become a poison master." Shino introduced himself curtly as he still didn't really like speaking against people that weren't Naruto, Sasuke, or his clan. "Yosh, with our youthful introductions done, why don't we have a little spar? You three against me." Naruto and Sasuke grinned while Shino nodded. Naruto didn't wait for a sign to start and immediately attacked Guy. Fire release, Great Fireball Jutsu. A giant ball of flame exploded toward Guy, who could only jump backward. Using the opportunity, the three all jumped to the forest surrounding them. Fighting a taijutsu specialist in an open field was worse than in a forest, where they could dodge easier and could set up traps. Guy chased after them. Not the best decision, but he couldn't allow them to set up any traps. Shino commanded his Kikaicho to stick onto Guy and slowly siphon his chakra. The less chakra he had, the better. Before they could set up a trap, Guy caught up with them and attacked Sasuke. Sasuke, with his Sharingan blazing red, managed to dodge the attack by a hair's breadth and retaliated. He went for a low kick which forced Guy to step back to dodge. While this happened, Naruto unsheathed his sword and ran behind Guy's back. When Guy jumped back to dodge Sasuke's attack, Naruto attacked. Guy seemed to have eyes in the back of his head as he effortlessly dodged Naruto's attack. Guy grinned and said, "You two are quite good, but you will need more to defeat me." Naruto and Sasuke attacked together using many different combos to try and hit Guy, only to have their efforts wasted. Shino was observing the fight. Just jumping in mindlessly wouldn't do much, so he decided to use his Rinkaichu and try to sneak attack Guy. When Naruto and Sasuke attacked Guy once again is when he took the opportunity to attack Guy. He soundlessly jumped at Guy from above. Alas, Guy wasn't a Jonin for nothing and managed to dodge, but not without sustaining some damage. Shino managed to hit his upper left arm. The arm immediately became purple. While Rinkaichu were extremely dangerous, if the opponent's chakra was higher than your own, then they could kill the Rinkaichu quite easily by overcharging them with chakra. They were still quite lethal though, as Guy could no longer use his left arm to attack. Seeing that his arm had become unusable, he smiled and motioned for them to stop. "You guys are already this powerful as freshly graduated genin. Sigh, we should stop here before we become any more hurt than we already are. We still have missions to do after all." Shino took back his Rinkaichu as Guy's arm slowly healed. Although it would take a few days to completely heal, it was at least not purple anymore. The four then headed to the Hokage's office. Since they were officially ninja now, they needed to register as adults, and as ninja and Guy needed to report the official forming of Team 9. An hour later they were at the mission office where most ninja receive their missions and where all genin get their D-rank missions from. "Now we will be taking on our first mission. I hope you guys are ready," Guy said. The three nodded seriously and listened as the Chunin in charge of missions told them their mission. "Team 9, your mission is to paint the fence of Yagamura-san. You will receive 1000 ryo for doing so. You have 4 hours to finish this mission. The payment will be given by Yagamura-san himself," the random Chunin said. If they were in an anime, they would have dropped to the ground in shock, but they weren't, so they only gave disappointed stares to both the Chunin and Guy. Both grinned at their disappointment. "You have received a quest. Quest, paint Yagamura-san's fence." Description: you need to paint Yagamura-san's fence. Rewards: 1000 ryo, 1000 EXP. Failure condition, not finishing under 4 hours, death. Naruto's face regained its previous excitement and seriousness. Well then, a mission is a mission, let's go. Sasuke and Shino nodded seriously and followed after Naruto. It was the Chunin and Guy's turn to be Chapter 30, Chapter 30, Inner World. Naruto was sitting in his room meditating. He felt that the skill would level up soon, so he decided to go over his stats while he was meditating. His stats had risen a lot over the last 3 years and his stats were now comparable to that of a Chunin, although his chakra levels were even higher than that of the Hokage. Status Naruto thought silently. Status. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Class, Zombie Hunter. HP, 67500/67500. CP, 121800/121800. LVL, 64. EXP, 200/64,000. Title, The Gamer. Money, 150,500 Ryo. STR, 95. VIT, 675. Dex, 102. Int, 223. WIS, 94. Stat points, 320. HP regeneration, 6850/hour. CP regeneration, 10400/hour. He had gained a perk for strength, 2 for dexterity, 1 for vitality, 1 for intelligence, and 1 for wisdom. In particular, he liked the perk he got for wisdom the most. Fast chakra regeneration. Description: you regenerate chakra 2 times as fast. Under the influence of your enhanced body, this perk has become 5 times as strong. For intelligence, he got an upgrade to an already existing perk. Photographic memory. Description: you only need a single look to retain information in perfect clarity. You gain access to all the memories recorded after gaining this perk. At 500 vitality he gained a pretty mediocre perk compared to the others, but nonetheless useful. Baijuyo stamina. Description: your stamina is comparable to that of a Baijuyo. You can fight for weeks and not run out of stamina. For strength, he got an interesting perk. Iron Knuckles. Description: you can use chakra to coat your hands. It will make it look like there is a dark substance covering it. Enhances the strength of punches. Only usable in taijutsu battles. It was a good perk, but sadly he wasn't primarily a taijutsu fighter, so he wouldn't get as many uses out of it as he would with other perks, but it was still a good perk. For dexterity he got Hawk Eyes. Description: your eyes are like that of a hawk. You can see in the dark. You can spot ants from 2 kilometers away. It greatly enhances your vision and your eyes can adapt to incredibly fast movements easier. Ambidextrous. Description: you are ambidextrous. Ambidextrous was an incredibly useful perk for Naruto since it allowed him to create 2 times as many seals at the same time. Couple it with parallel thought and he could even make 2 different types of seals at the same time. Meditation has leveled up. Meditation has reached level max. You have unlocked access to your inner world. If you meditate, you will now appear in your inner world 10 hours there equal 1 hour in the real world. Naruto stopped meditating. He was still in the real world. He didn't want to risk doing something stupid as he had never heard of the inner world before, so he would first do some research and then enter it instead of rushing head in like some orange-wearing knucklehead ninja. Naruto headed to the library and searched for books that wrote about things like souls and books pertaining to chakra. After multiple hours of unsuccessful research later, Naruto gave up and went home. The only thing that he could find was something called the Mindscape. It was said that monks and sages in the past could access it to become more in sync with themselves and so that they could attain true peace within themselves. Naruto didn't think that they were the same thing. Fuck it, the gamer system would probably not hurt me, and sometimes you need to take risks to succeed. Naruto thought as he started meditating. After a few minutes, Naruto could feel his surroundings change. Whoa! With a silent gasp of amazement, Naruto appeared in his inner world. Naruto looked around. His surroundings had completely changed. It was as if he had appeared in one of his IDs. Everything felt and looked real. Naruto appeared in some sort of giant library-like structure. Naruto grabbed one of the books and read the cover. Training with Guy. Naruto was confused until he opened the book. Instead of words, a video started playing in the book. Naruto had trained with Guy the day before and this was the exact same as that training session with Guy. Naruto quickly realized that these were his memories. Naruto walked around and found stairs leading downward. Above the stair was the number 11, most likely indicating his age, which was confirmed after he descended a level, and the number 10 was displayed above the stairs. Naruto opened another book and noticed that it was of a slightly lower quality than the books at level 11. It was most likely because these were older memories. Each level that he went down, the books became more blurry until he could barely recognize them anymore at around age 4. Naruto decided that there wasn't much else to do in this building, so he left through the exit that he found. The building resembled a pagoda but was made in the style that Konoha was built. The surroundings of the building were quite empty. There was a large wall with a gate on it, and for the rest, there were a few trees and some grass but nothing else. Naruto approached the gate and the second he touched it, the gate glowed an ominous red, which put Naruto on guard and slowly opened. A large tunnel appeared and nothing else happened. But then Naruto stepped over the boundary of the gate and he felt it. He felt the absolutely monstrous amount of chakra at the end of the tunnel and he realized who he would meet if he walked down that tunnel. Chapter 31. Chapter 31. The Fox. Kurama looked at the child he had been imprisoned into. He pitied the kid. The child was being chased by the very villagers that he has to call his family. His father sacrificed himself for an ungrateful village that only know how to hate. Kurama readied himself to perform the technique that would allow him to reform regardless of not being whole, but before the child died a change occurred. A loud ding echoed through the child's mind and not even a second later an unknown force took complete control over his body. Not even under Uchiha Madara's control had he felt this powerless. There was nothing that Kurama could do. The force even took control over a seal that is meant to be unbreakable and easily altered it to allow Kurama's chakra to enter the child's body. The force then took over the kid's body and used Kurama's chakra to kill everyone that had hurt the child. Just like that, the force let go of Kurama's power and full control returned to Kurama, as if nothing had happened, but deep down Kurama was terrified. He knew that there were incredibly strong beings out there but not this strong, to stay undetected even after directly taking over the nine-tailed demon fox, the strongest of the 9 Baijuyu. Congratulations, due to being bonded with my host soul you have been granted a light version of the gamer system, allows you to look at your status, and grants you the body of a gamer. Please say status. Kurama was shocked, but being a being of immense age and experience he quickly realized the situation he was in. A deep dark demonic voice spoke out status. Status. Name, Kurama. Class, Master of Foxes. HP, 44,200,000/44,200,000. CP, 63,800,000/63,800,000. LVL, 342. EXP, 0/2,520,000. Title, Companion of the Gamer. Money, 0. STR, 1,250. VIT, 4,420. Dex, 1,000. Int, 1960. WIS, 1,700. Status points, 0. HP regeneration, 443,100 per hour. CP regeneration, 6,380,000 per hour. While the numbers looked impressive to Kurama he knew not what they meant so he wasn't aware of how shocked Naruto would be when they actually meet. The gamer system explained to Kurama the basics and time continued rolling. Kurama gained partial access to Naruto's senses so he actually received most information about the gamer system through Naruto, not that it mattered that much. Kurama saw what Naruto had to go through, he saw the grueling training that he did and saw the friends that he made. He felt everything that Naruto felt and gained a connection to the boy unknown to either of them. He watched as the boy saved the Uchiha and passed his graduation exam early. He watched him complete a few missions and then saw him enter his mindscape, or inner world as the system called it. Kurama anticipated meeting Naruto. Naruto in the meanwhile was fretting over meeting the nine-tailed fox. All that he knew about the fox was that he was a massive corrupted chakra filled with hate and was not to be trusted. Of course, Naruto didn't believe a single word of what he read. After all, how would the person that wrote it down know? He walked down the large tunnel with slow and steady steps. He was watching out for anything that could happen and was on max vigilance. After a minute of walking, Naruto arrived in a large room with a giant red gate inside it. It was dark enough that even his enhanced eyes didn't allow him to see anything behind the giant bars of the gate. A deep dark and terrifying chuckle echoed throughout the room shaking the ground beneath Naruto's feet. Naruto steeled his will and walked until he stood in front of the gate, and looked directly into the darkness. Crimson red met ocean blue. The crimson-slitted eyes of Kurama looked into Naruto's ocean blue ones. Naruto stared directly into Kurama's eyes as if he was challenging the Kyuubi himself. HOH, you're challenging me, the deep demonic voice of Kurama sounded out. HMPF, as if an overgrown fox could do anything, Naruto said. This little brat. You dare care me an overgrown fox? Kurama shouted out in mock rage. Kurama's hand shot out, his clawed fingers stopping just before Naruto's unchanging face. Kurama growled in a threatening tone. Heh, I told you, Naruto smugly remarked. Kurama gave him an irritated look and sighed. I wanted to scare you a bit but it seems that the effects of gamer's mind are enough to even resist 50% of my killing intent. The gamer system truly is a blessing for a Jinchuriki like you. Naruto's eyes widened in shock before quickly closing in thought. There was a theory that a Baijuyo could look at the world through its Jinchuriki's senses. It seems it also worked while using the gamer system. So you know of the gamer system? Naruto asked Kurama. Yes I do. In fact, got a weaker version of it. I gained status, the gamer's body, and the ability to turn powers into skills, but that is it. I do not gain any perks nor do I gain the gamer's mind, Kurama answered. Well, it doesn't really matter anymore. You know my biggest secret so I hope that we can at least be friends, Naruto told Kurama. Kurama smiled on the inside. He knew that Naruto would do this so he decided to make Naruto's job harder and test a theory of his. Well we can certainly be friends but you are not ready yet. If you can get to the power of a cage within 2 years I may consider you being worthy of being my Jinchuriki and being my friend. I'll even tell you my name if you accomplish it, Kurama told Naruto. You have received a new quest. Quest, reach the power of a cage. Description, the Kyuubi has given you the quest of becoming a cage-level shinobi in order to gain his friendship. Become a cage-level shinobi within 2 years. Rewards, friendship with the Kyuubi, control over demonic chakra, 1 upgrade ticket. Failure conditions, you do not become a cage-level shinobi within 2 years, you die, Kyuubi dies. Naruto gained a determined expression and Kurama grinned. Chapter 32, Origin. After Naruto spoke to the fox he left his inner world and went to meet up with his team. They set up a routine that would work for all 4 of them and would give them enough free time for themselves. In the morning they would meet at 9, after which they would do team training and individual training until 12. From 12 until 18 they would do missions, and from 18 until 20 they would do some more training. This included rest periods and lunch, although Shino and Sasuke would miss dinner with their family most of the days, unless Guy trained Naruto exclusively, which Guy did for all 3 of his students, not only Naruto. Each lesson with Guy made them stronger and wiser than before. The 3 of them could easily take down a low-level squad of unprepared Chunin. This is how the next 2 months went for Naruto. Some D-rank missions gave him 2000 EXP while most gave 1000. In those 2 months they completed a total of 67 D-rank missions, which made Naruto level up once and earned him quite a bit of money. Sadly, most of Naruto's stats had stopped naturally increasing. He was thinking of ways on how to increase training efficiency when he remembered a talk he had with Guy sensei. "Hey Guy sensei, I am a bit confused about something," Naruto said to Guy. Guy, being the good sensei that he is, told Naruto to tell him his problem. "Well, I've noticed that my physical strength has practically slowed to a crawl. I barely got stronger this month and I'm wondering about how you got so strong physically." "Bahaha, my youthful student. Getting as strong as I am takes years of dedication and gravity training. Just simply training your body without chakra and normal weights won't cut it. But we will talk about this later. For now, let's spar." Naruto remembered that he said training with chakra and gravity weights, although none of the books he had about sealing talked about gravity seals or even seals that decrease and increase weight. He didn't know why, but he speculated that they were most likely dangerous, but them being more dangerous than explosive seals didn't make much sense. So he decided to bring his problem up to the Hokage. Naruto knocked on the door to the Hokage's office, only heading in when he heard the old man say, "Enter." "Yojiji, I got a question," Naruto said. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. Naruto didn't ask many things that often, as he seemed to enjoy researching for his own info, but whenever he did ask a question it was always a meaningful one. "Yes, my boy, what is your question?" Hiruzen asked. "What are gravity seals?" Naruto stated his question. Hiruzen sighed. It seemed like the time had come for Hiruzen to tell Naruto about his heritage. "Well, Naruto-kun, that is indeed a very good question. The knowledge on how to create gravity seals is only known by a select handful of people, most of whom have already passed on. The only person that I know that can make them is my student, Jiraiya the Toad Sunin, but you can certainly learn them," Hiruzen told Naruto. Naruto immediately gained an interested glint in his eyes. If anything, it was secrets that interested Naruto the most, along with seals, so this was akin to a birthday present to Naruto. "I will now tell you about your Uzumaki heritage, and I will tell you who your parents were. What I am about to tell you is an S-rank secret that must not be known by anyone, understood?" Hiruzen said in his Hokage voice. Naruto nodded seriously. He already had an idea of who his parents were, but confirmation was always nice, not to mention from the Hokage himself. "Your father was the 4th Hokage, Namikaze Minato, and your mother was the heiress and one of the last Uzumaki clan members alive, Uzumaki Kushina. They were both wonderful people that would be proud to see who you have become," Hiruzen said with a grandfatherly smile. Naruto nodded seriously. Hiruzen had just confirmed his suspicions, so he had no reason to be happier than normal. It was nice to know who his parents were, but they had already passed on and there was no reason to mull over the past, whether it was about someone important or not. Hiruzen was actually a bit shocked to see Naruto not react, but he had also figured out that Naruto already knew, so he continued. "Now, as your mother was the heiress of the Uzumaki clan, she inherited all of their sealing techniques, which are contained in one big scroll. It is unable to be opened by anyone that isn't a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, and destroying it is impossible. The seals that protect it are unknown to this day," Hiruzen said as he grabbed a small sealing scroll. He made several seals that were too fast for Naruto to see, and the sealing scroll started to shine. A brand new incredibly large sealing scroll appeared on top of it. There was a large symbol of the Uzumaki clan on it and several different kinds of seals on the scroll itself. The scroll was a deep red color and it seemed to give off an energy that only Naruto could sense. "As I was told by Kushina herself, this seal contains all the knowledge that the Uzumaki clan have compiled over their many years of existence, but that is as much as I know. I will give this scroll to you. I entrust you with its protection, so I hope nothing happens to it." Naruto nodded with full seriousness. He needed some time for himself now, since what the system had just told him threw him for a loop. Origin scroll detected. Name, Scroll of the Uzumaki. Description, a scroll that was found by the Sage of Six Paths. It was given to the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan compiled all their knowledge to seal this scroll. After that, it was used to store the knowledge of the Uzumaki clan. If you manage to unseal the Origin scroll, you will gain access to an Origin summoning clan and knowledge of seals that are beyond all current levels of sealing. Requirements to access, max level Uzumaki bloodline. You can currently absorb the scroll and put it into your inner world. This will allow you to learn all the knowledge of the Uzumaki clan instantly and will automatically max out and evolve your Funjutsu skill. Do you wish to absorb the scroll? Y/N. Without thinking, Naruto thought yes. The Hokage watched the scroll disappear with large eyes. "Don't worry, old man. I am simply putting the scroll into my mindscape, where it will stay until I die," Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. "That's quite a good jutsu to have. I must say it will definitely make it easy for you to steal certain things." Naruto nodded in agreement. A/N, I need a summon, I don't know what to choose. I thought about using dragons but that would be kinda cliche, so I hope you guys can give me some ideas. Any mythical being/animal/creature is accepted. I will go with whichever is the most liked one, or the one I like the most. Depends on what the most liked one is. See you guys next time. Chapter 33, Chapter 33, First C rank. After his little meet-up with the Hokage, Naruto went to meet up with his team. They will be doing their first C rank mission. The usual requirement to take C rank missions was to be a team for at least 1 year or to have successfully finished 50 D rank missions and have your Jonin sensei recommend you for a C rank mission, which didn't happen that often. The fact that they had been a team for less than half a year and were already doing a C rank mission was a testament to their skill as a team and as individuals. Good morning, my youthful students. Guy shouted at his 3 Jonin students. He was extremely proud of the progress the 3 had been making. He had to focus a bit more on Sasuke and Shino as they were far behind Naruto in terms of overall skill, but he was happy to see that the 2 weren't affected badly and were instead motivated to catch up with their friend. True youthfulness in his eyes was never giving up and always being determined to achieve nothing but the best, no matter how slim the chances of succeeding were, and all 3 of his students showed that youthfulness. Before either of his 3 students could reply, Guy continued speaking. Today we will be doing our first C rank mission. It will most likely be something like bandit extermination or an escort mission that shouldn't include any fighting, so be prepared to either kill or be extremely bored for the next couple of days, he said seriously. Naruto, Sasuke, and Shino nodded in equal seriousness. They knew that being a shinobi would involve killing. Sasuke and Shino had never killed before and Naruto wouldn't have any problems with killing since he had the gamer's mind and had already taken care of a few enemies. Of course, Sasuke and Shino could probably never properly prepare themselves to kill humans as the life they lived was too sheltered for that. Nonetheless, they were determined to succeed in their first C rank. They walked into the mission center and walked up to the Chunin that handed out missions. The Chunin greeted them and was about to hand them their usual D rank but was stopped by Guy. We're taking a C rank today, Guy stated. The Chunin had a surprised expression before he looked at the profiles of Naruto, Sasuke, and Shino. There he saw that they were indeed qualified to take C ranks and handed them one of the newer C ranks. You have received a quest. C rank mission. Description: you are to find and exterminate a small camp of bandits that have been plaguing a town towards the border of the Land of Fire. You have a total of 2 weeks to complete this mission. Rewards: 5,000 EXP, 2,500 Ryo. Failure condition: the bandits manage to escape. Your death, one of your teammates' death. A/N. Since some PPL are confused ABT what failure condition means, it's basically if any of those things happen you'd fail the quest, which is why death is always one of them. It doesn't necessarily mean that he dies if he fails the quest, it's just a failure condition. The 4 of them read the mission parameters and they prepared themselves to head out to take care of the bandits. Within 10 minutes of receiving the mission, Team 9 was already outside of the village heading towards the border of the fire country that sided the Land of Waters. Since the situation in the Land of Water had worsened in recent years, the civil war that was happening had started to affect surrounding countries and had weakened the Land of Water extremely. At first it seemed that the rebels were going to win within a couple of years, but recent developments among the 7 swordsmen of the mist and changes in the Mizu cage had increased the strength of Kirigakure, while the rebels only had 1 cage level shinobi, far from enough to deal with Kirigakure. So while their mission wasn't of high difficulty, there was a high chance to meet with rogue shinobi, so it was actually surprising for this mission to be a C rank, but Team 9 would accomplish its mission no matter what. They took up a pace that would put some Chunin teams to shame and would arrive in approximately a day's time in Maru village, the place that had been raided by bandits. Since all 3 of them had learned how to use Shushin, they didn't have any problems traveling long distances quickly. Not much had happened while they were traveling. They met some friendly merchants and that was pretty much it. Naruto was a bit let down. He was half expecting to be attacked by 2 shinobi that would jump out of a puddle of water, but that never happened. Guy gave the trio some tips about camping in the wild, and with the air becoming moister and moister they knew that they would soon arrive at their destination. So Guy-sensei, how should we deal with the bandits when we find them? Sasuke asked. Guy smirked. Well, the first thing we have to do is gather information. We will try to find out about their numbers from the villagers and then try to find their hideout. With Shino's bugs and Naruto's chakra sensing, we shouldn't have many problems on that part. From then on I will leave everything up to you 3. Guy explained to them. The 4 arrived in the village and headed to the village head's house. The village looked a little damaged with 2 buildings completely destroyed. The village chief was an old man of around 70. This spoke volumes in the shinobi world, as most people wouldn't live past the age of 50 and only strong people would be able to survive that long. They questioned the chief about what happened and were told that a group of 20 bandits had ransacked the village, killed a few villagers, and took some women with them. This caused a dark expression to appear on all of their faces. The world of shinobi was an ugly one. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows like Konoha. Small villages had to live in fear of shinobi and bandits as they were mostly powerless against them. A fire lit up in Team 9's heart as they were determined to exterminate the bandits that attacked their homeland. They headed out immediately. With the help of Shino's Kakaicha they managed to follow the trace that the bandits left behind easily, and after an hour of following their trail Naruto felt their chakra signatures. I feel their signatures. There's a total of 29 signatures in the camp. 10 of them are all in one place, most likely where the women were taken, and the rest vary in position. 4 are walking around the camp and most are in groups of 3 or 4. Then Naruto felt it, a humongous amount of chakra that approached the camp. It was comparable to his own, which surpassed even that of the Hokage. While it wasn't as powerful and large as the fox's chakra, it was definitely comparable to it in corruptedness. It was one of the darkest chakra signatures that he had ever seen, and it looked like that showed on his face as Sasuke, Shino, and Guy looked at Naruto with concern. What did you sense, Naruto? Guy asked. With a serious expression, Naruto replied, there's no way that this is a simple bandit camp. There's a chakra signature that surpasses my own, and you know that I am a Jinchuriki. Guy's expression darkened. It seemed that this mission wasn't that simple after all. Before they could do anything else, Naruto shouted, the signature is approaching us. Shit, this isn't youthful at all. I will need the three of you to run away. Guy shouted at them. Naruto, Shino, and Sasuke took off running without hesitation. They knew that their lives were currently on the line, so they didn't argue. Before they even set their first foot to run, a dark and raspy voice rang throughout the clearing they were in. Leaving already? I haven't even had my fun yet. Those bandits were barely able to satisfy me. Perhaps I should cut off your legs so you little rats can't run away. Chapter 34, Swordsman of the Mist. Naruto was shocked at the man's words. He quickly sensed in the direction of the bandit camp and found out that all of the signatures had disappeared in all but a second. As if the gamer system thought it was funny, it gave Naruto the notification that he completed his mission, but Naruto ignored it completely. He was currently standing in front of the strongest swordsman of the mist, Hoshigaki Kisame. It was rumored that he had abandoned his village once the civil war started, but it seemed that that was just a rumor. Hoshigaki Kisame, a swordsman of the mist, what are you doing in the country of fire? Guy asked as if he wasn't scared of Kisame at all. Kisame grinned. I am simply trying to have some fun is all. The civil war has gotten kind of boring. I wouldn't even be here if the boss didn't order me to be here, but not like that matters to you since you'll be dead in a few minutes, shinobi of Konoha. Chakra gathered around Kisame's mouth and Naruto shouted at his teammates to dodge. He's preparing a jutsu, avoid it. Naruto managed to shout out just in time as Kisame finished his hand signs and fired out a large wave of water. With the use of a shushin, the three of them dodged while Guy simply jumped back. Oh, it seems like you four aren't that incompetent. Kisame grinned as he pulled out the giant sword that was wrapped in bandages. Not like it matters, Kisame muttered. Before Naruto even noticed, Kisame was standing in front of him with his giant sword swinging toward Naruto. You always need to take care of the problematic ones first, Kisame stated as if Naruto was simply a nuisance. In a split second, Guy acted. He released 4 gates and kicked Kisame away. Sadly, he was not fast enough. The blade moved as if it was alive, and instead of simply cutting it, shaved through Naruto's arm. Of course, Naruto didn't simply let this happen. The second the blade touched his arm, he activated his inventory. With that, he managed to do 3 things. 1. Save his arm from being completely torn off. 2. Steal one of the 7 legendary blades of the Hidden Mist. 3. Anger Hoshigaki Kisame, a person who he would never be able to beat at his current strength. Although they did stand more of a chance to survive now, while a member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist was incredibly dangerous with his sword, they were still dangerous without it, although severely weakened, especially Kisame, who relied heavily on Samehada to increase his chakra levels and for specific jutsu. But Guy wasn't weak either. In fact, Guy was one of the strongest people that Naruto knew, so he did not doubt him for a second and began running away with Sasuke and Shino. As they ran, they heard sounds of explosions and waves of water hitting the ground. They saw giant dust clouds rise over the forest they were in, and some waves of water even reached them, who were now over a kilometer away. Meanwhile, with Kisame and Guy, they were fighting an extremely destructive battle. The surroundings had seemingly transformed from a forest into a small lake. Water style? 1,000 hungry sharks. Kisame shouted. A giant wave of water gathered, which was then filled with a bunch of sharks that were pointed at Guy, who had released the 5th gate, the Gate of Limit. This gate would allow Guy to punch back all the waves that Kisame sent his way, but it would slowly deteriorate his health. Seeing that his attack would most likely not affect Guy, Kisame prepared one of his strongest jutsu. Water release, exploding water colliding wave, Kisame shouted. Before even being able to take care of the first attack, Guy was bombarded by another one, each bigger than the other. Kisame's chakra was extremely large, which allowed him to throw around extremely strong and large jutsu. This was one of the reasons why it wasn't wise to anger Kisame Hoshigaki. You bastards! That little brat took my Samehada. Kisame shouted at Guy, seemingly frustrated at being unable to deal much damage to Guy. Ha ha ha, that was indeed surprising of my youthful student. Even I didn't know that he could do that. I should thank him, he made my job a lot easier. Guy taunted Kisame. Kisame growled and started attacking again. He wanted his sword back, and nothing would stop him from getting what he wanted. It's time for me to end this battle, Hoshigaki Kisame. Guy shouted. 6th gate, Gate of View, open. 7th gate, Gate of Wonder, open. With a mighty shout, chakra exploded around Guy. His body started glowing, and pure waves of power started coming off of his body. Guy got into a stance that caused the warning signs in Kisame's head to go haywire. He had never been this afraid of an attack, not even against his so-called boss. Daytime Guy pulled his fist back and punched Tiger. A giant explosion occurred. Contrary to its looks, Daytime Tiger was a pure taijutsu move that didn't use any chakra whatsoever. The destruction it caused was immense. The lake that had been formed was completely blown away, together with the forest that surrounded them. The shockwaves that a single punch produced were incredible. Trees, boulders, anything that was in its path were blown away. The giant white tiger that appeared because of the punch impacted Kisame, throwing him tens if not hundreds of meters away, and created a giant crater. The shockwaves produced by the attack were felt even by Naruto, Sasuke, and Shino, who were now around 5 kilometers away. Unfortunately, the damage done to Guy wasn't little. He wouldn't be able to continue fighting for much longer, so he decided to run back in the direction of Konoha to meet up with the rest of his team. Chapter 35. Chapter 35, Escape. Since Sasuke and Shino weren't able to run that fast on such short notice, they had slowed down by a lot. When Naruto felt Guy's chakra signature approaching them, he felt as if an invisible weight was lifted off of his shoulders. Guys, everything's fine now. Guy-sensei is about to catch up with us, Naruto told Shino and Sasuke. Shino sighed in relief and Sasuke visibly deflated. It seems that both of them were worried for their sensei. In just a minute, Guy had caught up with them and he was happy to see that his students were alright, save for Naruto. My youthful students, Guy shouted, I am glad that you guys are alright, but we will need to hurry back and heal your arm, Naruto, Guy said in a worried tone. Sasuke and Shino were visibly shaken. This had been their first interaction with evil and corrupted chakra. While Naruto didn't realize it in the heat of the moment, Kisame had actually blasted them with a wave of killing intent, which was something that Sasuke and Shino had never felt before, so they were extremely shaken up. Another thing that Naruto ignored was the notifications of the gamer system. You have completed the quest, C-rank mission. You have gained 5,000 EXP. You can collect 2,500 Ryo from the mission center. You have received a new quest. Survive Kisame. Description: Hoshigaki Kisame is extremely angry at you. Escape or kill Hoshigaki Kisame to complete this mission. Rewards: 100.000 EXP. Silent killing skill book. Failure consequence: death. This was the first time that the system had given a failure consequence, so Naruto was glad that he managed to get away, otherwise he would have most likely died. He managed to reach level 65 with the completion of this quest and was halfway to level 66, but the best thing he had gotten out of this was the weapon of Kisame. Samehada, a legendary blade wielded by the 7 swordsmen of the mist. It was the strongest sword out of the 7 legendary swords, and its user would become strong even by just fighting weak shinobi and absorbing their chakra. Before Naruto could look at the weapon, his teammates started moving and they were once again moving towards Konoha, although at a more moderate pace. While his arm was hurting like a bitch, it would take quite some time to heal it. HP 36890/68500. CP 80050/123600. Samehada has absorbed your chakra. The blade was laced with chakra poison. Your healing has been slowed down to 10% of your max regeneration. A single hit from Kisame took down more than half his HP and took around 36,000 chakra, while the rest he had used to enhance his body and to use Shushin. He regenerated 6,950 HP per hour, but with the poison affecting his body he only healed 695 HP per hour. In total it would take him around 2 days to fully heal from the damage he had received, which to be honest was a lot faster than others would heal. Most people would already have died of blood loss, but his body healed fast enough to create a sufficient amount of blood to somewhat clog the wound up. They managed to return to Konoha in a record time of 10 hours, where Guy carried Sasuke and Shino in turns while Naruto used the Kyuubi as an excuse to not be carried. When they arrived at the gates of Konoha it was already late at night and the Chunin guards were shocked to see them, but they didn't have much of a chance to say anything as a squad of Umbu inspected the group. They were swiftly taken care of. They were taken to the emergency ward for wounded shinobi and were healed of any wound they might have received, except for Naruto. The poison that was in his body was extracted and secured as a team of medic nin started healing his arm. Somewhere during the process Fugaku, Mikoto, Itake, and the Hokage had arrived in the medical ward, each more worried than the other. When they were informed that Team 9 had returned injured, they became extremely worried. Fearing for the safety of Sasuke and Naruto, the Uchiha and Hokage quickly arrived. Shino's father had also arrived, perhaps even earlier than the others. When they saw Naruto's injury they were all shocked. They only knew of one weapon that dealt such damage, so they interrogated Guy as if he was the perpetrator. Guy, what happened? It was only supposed to be a simple C-rank mission, the Hokage asked Guy. Guy sighed and started explaining. Everything was going according to plan until the very end. We were about to attack the bandit camp. Naruto sensed the arrival of a humongous chakra signature, comparable to his own, as he said. We were then attacked by Hoshigaki Kisame. I defeated him, but he managed to almost shave off Naruto's arm. Luckily Naruto managed to somehow take Kisame's sword away, which made my job easier. The Hokage nodded in understanding, while the Uchiha family and the single Abarame were shocked. They had never heard of a Jonin being able to steal a cage-level shinobi's sword. So what you're saying is that Naruto is currently in possession of Hoshigaki Kisame's sword? Fugaku asked Guy. Guy nodded while sheepishly rubbing the back of his head. Well, I don't know where the sword is, but Naruto should have it. The Hokage chuckled. Naruto recently showed me a jutsu of his. It allows him to seal something that touches him inside his mindscape. Quite a good jutsu for stealing, as Naruto just demonstrated, he said with a smile. After an hour of waiting they were finally able to go and see Naruto. Chapter 36. Chapter 36, Samehada. Naruto looked at the sword inside his inventory. Samehada, the name of the weapon simply rolled off his tongue as if it was made for it. Samehada. Rarity, legendary. Description: Samehada is part of a 7-part sword series. It is known to be the strongest of the 7 legendary swords and is made of an unknown material that makes it look like the fangs of a shark. The weapon is partially alive as the chakra it absorbs shapes its personality. It is coated in a natural poison that it once absorbed many years ago. It can absorb chakra and change shape according to the user's will. Currently it is laced with a large amount of Hoshigaki Kisame's chakra. To take ownership of the sword you must replace all of Hoshigaki Kisame's chakra and lace it with your own chakra. If the sword is charged with enough chakra it is possible to evolve the sword. Naruto was amazed by the sword. It seemed like the sword simply clicked within his mind. All he needed to do was remove all of Kisame's chakra and the sword would soon be his. He grinned with a childlike smile as if he had found a long-lost toy. It had been a little over 5 minutes since the medic nin had stabilized his condition to their standards. He expected to get some visitors soon. As if they had heard his thoughts, a few knocks rang on the door. He told them to come in. He smiled when he saw who came in. He wasn't using his chakra sensing as he couldn't be bothered to use it at the moment. The Hokage along with the Uchiha, the 2 Abarame, and Guy Sensei entered his hospital room. Naruto's heavily bandaged arm brought concern to the others but Naruto waved their worries away. So why are you guys visiting me? Naruto asked while tilting his head. Itachi walked up to Naruto and hit him on the head. Ow! Naruto exclaimed but smiled looking at the face of the others. It seems you realize it now. Itachi nodded and walked back to his previous position. We were worried about you, Naruto. The Hokage said. The others nodded along. They started talking about the stuff that happened the past day and stopped when it came to Samehada. So, Guy told us that you took Samehada from Kisame but we are still quite confused about that, Fugaku said. It's not that big of a deal. To be honest, it's simply a jutsu that I created. It allows me to create a sort of separate dimension out of my mindscape since the Kyuubi is stored in there as well. It allows me to put a bunch of different things in there, Naruto said while pulling out a pack of instant ramen from his inventory. He had stacked up quite a bit of it. Shino chuckled. Somehow it doesn't surprise me that you store instant ramen in there. The others nodded as well. So can you show us Samehada? Hiruzen asked. Naruto smiled. Sure, if you guys want to be attacked by a sentient sword that has stored an entire Baijuyu's worth of chakra in itself. This quickly stopped the others from asking Naruto to take Samehada out. Exhaustion seemed to have caught up to Sasuke and Shino. The past day had been extremely taxing. Being blasted with the killing intent of an S-ranked shinobi was extremely tiring for them, so all they wanted to do right now was go home to their beds and sleep knowing that they weren't being chased by an S-rank shinobi. Everyone quickly headed back to where they came from while Guy went with the Hokage to make an official report. Being attacked by Hoshigaki Kisame while being in the Land of Fire was a serious breach of security and was a political blunder that the Hokage wouldn't be able to avoid. Naruto had one more visitor left. You can come in, you know, Naruto said. It seems you have gotten better at sensing presences, a figure said. A masked Umbu walked out from the darkness of the room in front of the window that was illuminated by the light of the moon. It revealed the figure to be Dog. So will you someday tell me your identity or will you just keep me guessing forever? Naruto asked. Dog chuckled. I am in the Umbu. I can't reveal my identity to anyone, not even close friends. You consider me your close friend? Naruto smirked. Kakashi smiled under his mask. He was starting to enjoy talking to Naruto more and more over the year. The smarter Naruto became the more he resembled his parents, which brought both good and bad memories to Kakashi, but recently he had been starting to get better. The constant pestering of Naruto allowed Kakashi to relax and allowed him to reconcile with the past, and even get over some things. Although some things were unchangeable, such as his duties to the Umbu. I'm afraid we'll have to cut our meeting short. I'll come to visit you some other time, Dog said to Naruto. Dog then shoos Hind out of the hospital room leaving Naruto by himself. Naruto was thinking of the future. I've realized that reaching cage level will be harder than expected. I will have to go into the IDs more from now on. ID Create and Escape had reached level 60 allowing him to enter a couple more types of IDs but he hadn't really been using IDs efficiently. He could have become a higher level if he simply entered them every day but because of his early graduation he hadn't leveled up as much as he would have liked but that would soon change. With a renewed determination to become a cage-level shinobi, Naruto decided to sleep for the first time in a long time. Chapter 37. Chapter 37. Feelings. You have slept in a comfortable bed. All negative status conditions have been removed. HP and CP have been fully recovered. Naruto woke up refreshed. He closed the notification of the system and got out of the hospital bed. He felt more refreshed than before and his arm had completely healed before he was able to get out of the room though. A doctor entered the room. With a quick cast of Observe, Naruto figured out who the doctor was and why he seemed familiar. Nagayoshi Satomi. Title, Dr. LVL, 31. STR, 55. VIT, 70. Dex, 100. Int, 90. WIS, 86. Description: Nagayoshi Satomi is a medical ninja that works at the Konoha hospital. He is in charge of taking care of Genin, Chunin, and some Jonin level shinobi. He graduated the academy and became a Genin, but instead of becoming a Chunin he became a medical ninja and is one of the best medic nins in Konoha. This was the same doctor that had healed him all those years ago. Aitsu, Naruto exclaimed. Satomi looked a bit confused, so Naruto explained, you were the one that healed me when I was 4, I still remember your face. Naruto said with a grin. Satomi smiled. Well, that's great and all, but can I know why you are out of your bed with the injuries that you received? He asked. Naruto sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. Well, since I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, I heal insanely fast, coupled with the vitality of the Uzumaki clan, I usually heal from all wounds in my sleep. Naruto explained. Since Satomi looked skeptical, Naruto pulled off the bandages that covered his arm and showed him clear and unscarred skin, save for the ones he got all those years ago. He still didn't know why those scars wouldn't disappear, but it didn't matter that much to him anyway. The two of them went through the usual check-ups and Satomi confirmed that Naruto was in perfect condition. Even the remnants of the poison had been completely purged from his body. Dr. Satomi was amazed by Naruto's regeneration speed. Naruto-san, I have a request to make of you, only if you allow it, of course. Satomi asked. This piqued Naruto's interest, so he nodded at Satomi to continue. Recently I have been asked to do research on improving healing techniques, and when I saw the speed that you regenerate at, I was absolutely amazed. My request would be to be able of studying some of your genes and DNA so that I can break through a recent bottleneck that I reached. Satomi told Naruto. Naruto thought about it for a second. The chances of this man being someone shady were slim to none, so he decided to trust him, and if he could help out in creating better healing techniques, then why not? Well, I'll agree if you can give me all the techniques that medic nin are taught, like the chakra scalpel and the healing jutsus, Naruto said. While he didn't mind helping, he didn't want to go away empty-handed, so he asked for some jutsu. The doctor nodded and told Naruto to wait for a bit. After 5 minutes the doctor returned with a few scrolls. These are all the scrolls that I have access to. I left out all the basic knowledge ones. These are the specific jutsu that are required to become a medic nin. Now if you follow me, I'll take some samples of your blood and DNA. Satomi handed Naruto the scrolls and motioned for him to follow. Naruto swiftly put the scrolls in his inventory since it would soon become public knowledge that he could store things without a sealing scroll, so it wouldn't make sense to hide it anymore. The two of them went to a lab that was in the hospital and took a few samples of Naruto's hair, skin, and blood. It was a quick and efficient process. Naruto was out of the hospital within 10 minutes. Naruto headed over to his friend's house. First up was Shino, since it would most likely take less time to catch up with Shino. Naruto knocked on the door of the Abarame clan head's house and waited a few moments before the door was opened by the head of the Abarame clan himself. Shivi Abarame stood in front of Naruto. What might you be doing here? Shivi asked Naruto. Yo, Abarame-san, is Shino at home? I wanted to tell him that I was out of the hospital, and I wanted to check up on him after all that happened. Naruto told Shivi. Shivi nodded and motioned for Naruto to follow him. They walked through the house into the backyard, and since Shino decided to use Rinkaicho and Kikaicho, both Shivi had moved his insect colony to a closer place so that they wouldn't damage the insect colonies of the other Abarame members. Naruto saw Shino working on bettering his insect colony. He said that he had been trying to breed Kikaicho and Rinkaicho together, but that wasn't that important right now. Shivi walked away to let Naruto and Shino talk to each other in private. You seem lost in thought, Naruto said. Shino stayed silent for a second before turning to face Naruto. I've just realized how weak we are is all, Shino said and turned back to tend to his colony. Naruto nodded. Yeah, but we will become stronger than Kisame one day, even if it takes us over a decade. We are still just 11 years old. We shouldn't even be worried about fighting the likes of Kisame, Naruto said to console Shino. Shino simply nodded. The two of them did not need many words to communicate with each other. They simply understood each other as if it was a natural thing to them. Naruto realized that he wasn't the only one with the desire to become stronger. He could practically feel the determination oozing off of Shino. The will to become better was like a raging fire that heated up Shino's surroundings. And Naruto grinned wildly at that. This was the exact reason why Naruto was best friends with Shino. The two spent a few silent minutes together before Naruto decided to leave. He visited Gai Sensei, who had already started training again, and then went to visit the Uchihas. The second he entered the house, he was embraced in a hug by Mikoto. She was extremely worried after seeing the pictures taken of Naruto's wounds and had barely slept the past night, so she was extremely relieved to see that Naruto was perfectly healthy. Fugaku and Itachi merely nodded at him in sympathy. While Itachi hadn't come that close to losing his arm before, he had ended up in the hospital many times and he knew that the experience wasn't great, so he felt sympathetic to Naruto. Fugaku had been in many fights with S-rank shinobi, and the first time he had encountered an unfriendly one, he had been shaken to the core. Safe to say he pitted Team 9. As for Sasuke, well, he wasn't all that good. Straight after returning, he had thrown himself into training, saying that he needed to protect his friends. Fugaku realized that Sasuke most likely had his Sharingan activated during the battle. Whenever the user activated the Sharingan, the scenes that they hated the most would play before their eyes. Each time they used it, they would be reminded of the bad things that happened to them. That was why it was called the curse of the Uchiha. They literally cursed themselves by using the Sharingan. That is why it is important to use the Sharingan to record any happy memories. But this case was different. Sasuke's Sharingan had reached full maturity, meaning he was able to see Naruto's arm almost get cut off. This experience would be enough to trigger the side effects of the Sharingan. Coupled with the constant reminder of Kisame's killing intent, it caused Sasuke to spiral into a very deep hole. Fugaku was forced to knock Sasuke out in order to get him to rest. Sasuke was currently eating breakfast. Damn, you look like shit, Naruto remarked cheekily. TCH, as if you know what I feel. Sasuke verbally lashed out at Naruto. You do know that we experienced the same exact thing, right? Naruto deadpanned. And if this is how you react from fighting a single S-rank opponent, I think you should stop being a shinobi, Naruto said seriously. This seemed to shock Sasuke enough to have him regain some sense. You break down just because we encountered an opponent that is stronger than us and got injured a bit. This is not the Sasuke that I know. The Sasuke that I know should have already gotten over this problem and would be striving to become stronger in a sensible manner, not trying to escape reality by throwing himself into training. Naruto finished by smacking Sasuke on the head. Sasuke exclaimed in pain and sighed deeply. TCH, I hate it when you are right. Sasuke admitted shamefully. Naruto chuckled. I'm glad you're okay now, please don't be an idiot anymore. Yeah, I hear you. Sasuke grunted out. Chapter 38, Chapter 38, Grinding. Since Naruto wasn't expected to come out of the hospital for at least a week, they had gotten a week off from their duties. This allowed Naruto to do some private training, aka, grinding in an ID. Naruto hadn't really grinded in the IDs that much. Physical training could already get him to become as strong as anyone else. It didn't really make sense for him to use his stat points to level his physical status up. This caused him to neglect leveling up and instead made him focus on becoming stronger by training alone. Naruto realized that he had been stupid. He was the gamer, not just a normal shinobi. He was made to level up and use his stat points to become stronger than anyone else. Create ninja ID, Naruto said out loud. The world cracked around him and his surroundings became completely silent. The chirping of the birds, the silent sound of the wind, and the sound of people walking on the street all disappeared. Naruto appeared in an even more run-down Konoha than the zombie ID one. It looked as if enemy ninja had completely blown Konoha up, which was exactly what this ID was. It was an all-out battle against an army of enemy ninja. Naruto looked around and before he could even do anything, a group of Jonin-level signatures ambushed him. Each of them were wearing masks that were colored white and were dressed exactly the same. Observe, Naruto thought as he dodged their attacks. White Shinobi. Level, 30. HP, 4000. CP, 8000. STR, 40. VIT, 40. Dex, 40. Int, 40. WIS, 40. Description, a Jonin rank shinobi. They have great teamwork. All white shinobi are completely identical to each other and have no emotions. They are as if they have been trained by a very shady man. These were the weakest enemies in the ninja ID. This was also the reason why this was Naruto's hardest ID, since he had seen several Jonin rank shinobi before he had to run away. This time would be different though. Naruto quickly dispatched the group of Jonin and ran to find himself a safe place. Status, Naruto quickly thought to himself. Status. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Class, Zombie Hunter. HP, 68500/68500. CP, 123600/123600. LVL, 65. EXP, 40,000/65,000. Title, The Gamer. Money, 150,500 Ryo. STR, 95. VIT, 685. Dex, 102. Int, 226. WIS, 94. Stat points, 325. HP regeneration, 6950/hour. CP regeneration, 10400/hour. He had 325 stat points to use and swiftly started to appoint them. The first thing that Naruto wanted was for all his stats to be 200. That would hopefully make him strong enough to combat Jonin level shinobi. Even if it wouldn't, it would make his life a lot easier with all the perks he would gain. Once everything was at 200, he was left with 16 stat points, which he put into intelligence. His stats looked like this. Status. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Class, Zombie Hunter. HP, 68500/68500. CP, 125200/125200. LVL, 65. EXP, 40,000/65,000. Title, The Gamer. Money, 150,500 Ryo. STR, 95-200. VIT, 685. Dex, 102-200. Int, 226-242. WIS, 94-200. Stat points, 325-0. HP regeneration, 6950/hour. CP regeneration, 21,000/hour. He had gotten 5 perks, 2 for wisdom, 2 for strength, and 1 for dexterity. Free movement. Description, you can control your body to do whatever you want. You can control each muscle and even the flow of your blood. Comprehension. Description, makes you comprehend things faster. Complex theories are easy for you to understand and you can comprehend anything if given enough time. Chakra comprehension. Description, makes you comprehend chakra faster. Your 50% chakra control decrease has been removed and you are now quite good at controlling chakra. Mastering chakra control is easier for you. Iron strength. Description, your body is strong enough to bend metal with your fingers. This perk enhances strength. Taijutsu enhancement. Description, this perk makes your taijutsu stronger. You can punch with more efficiency and can master taijutsu styles faster. Naruto immediately felt stronger. His body felt twice as strong and he immediately could feel that his chakra flowed through his body easier. The perks really did wonders. He felt as if the chains that were holding him down were released. Naruto didn't have much time to think over things as Jonin level signatures had started surrounding the broken down building he was in. He could even sense some Chunin rank signatures. Naruto knew what he wanted to do. Fire style, Great Fire Annihilation. Naruto shouted out as he charged the jutsu with 40,000 CP. In total there were around 40 shinobi surrounding him. 35 of those were hit by the giant stream of fire that spewed out of Naruto's mouth. The 5 remaining shinobi were swiftly taken care of. You have leveled up. Naruto grinned. Let the grind start. With that the hunter became the hunted. Naruto started actively sensing for lower level shinobi. It was better to take care of the fodder quickly and to save his strength for stronger enemies. In all but 2 hours Naruto leveled up 3 times. He was now level 69, a very great number, according to some books he had read. Naruto had now taken care of all the low-level enemies. There were only 15 Jonin level shinobi left over. Purple shinobi. Level, 150. HP, 30,000/30,000. CP, 60,000/60,000. STR, 300. VIT, 300. Dex, 300. Int, 300. WIS, 300. Description: these are the elites of the shinobi. They are capable of using a wide range of jutsu and are well versed in all areas of jutsu. Beating them requires great strength. Naruto wasn't very confident in beating 15 of them. The Jonin were much smarter and stayed in a large group since they knew that Naruto was alone, so they used a very basic tactic of ganging up on him. Naruto was currently dodging a large array of jutsu: earth, water, fire, wind, and lighting. Each element was thrown at him without hesitation. Some of the purple shinobi were even attacking Naruto with exploding seals and with various different styles of taijutsu. This was a very difficult situation for Naruto. He was also down to half his chakra and had lost quite a bit of health fighting them, so he decided to continue fighting. High risk, high reward, as they say. Naruto dodged under the sword that was swinging at him and applied a new type of seal that he had learned recently, a gravity seal. Currently he needed paper to apply it, but at higher levels, Naruto could draw the seal into pure air if he wanted. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu, LVL 10. Naruto continued dodging until 4 of the enemies were affected by the gravity seals. They had slowed down to 50% of their previous speed and Naruto now had a chance to take them down. He pulled out the sword he had gotten from Dog all those years ago and cut off the head of one of the shinobi affected by the gravity seal. He swiftly started doing seals and threw a large fireball at the shinobi ambushing him from the side. His sword moved ruthlessly and cut down another 2. His luck seemed to run out though, as he was quickly surrounded and overwhelmed by the jutsu that the enemies were throwing at him. With his HP rapidly decreasing, Naruto decided to strategically retreat and exited the ID escape. Naruto shouted and the world started cracking around him. The enemy shinobi disappeared and Naruto reappeared in a forest that was in Konoha. He had kind of forgotten about reappearing somewhere else than he entered, but he didn't sense anyone nearby, so it was fine. The sun was still shining, but Naruto needed to regain his chakra and heal before doing anything else. He quickly ran home and prepared himself a meal using chakra cooking. It would make him heal faster. Chakra enhanced soup. Description: soup that has been enhanced by chakra, improves regeneration by 100% for 2 hours. He also applied some bandages to his wounds as they would also improve regeneration speed along with some medicinal lotions. The day passed quickly as he spent some time studying the scroll of the Uzumaki and created some seals. He was going to try and infuse Samehada with his own chakra soon. Chapter 39. Chapter 39, Samehada's mad. Naruto entered an empty ID, since he didn't know how Samehada would react once taken out, and since it held enough chakra to pass off as a baiju, Naruto didn't want to take it out in the village where several sensing-type ninja patrolled all day long. It would be nothing short of a disaster, especially because it had a pretty similar chakra signature to Kisame's. Naruto pulled out Samehada from his inventory and immediately felt the killing intent oozing off the sword. Once Samehada was completely out of his inventory, spikes came out of its handle and went straight through Naruto's hand. Naruto immediately felt Samehada start draining his chakra. The more Samehada drained, the harder it struggled to try to escape from Naruto's grasp. Eventually, after around 5 minutes, Naruto started running out of chakra. He had 10,000 left, and Samehada had drained 115,000 units of chakra from Naruto, but Kisame's signature had barely even dimmed. It seemed like removing it would take quite a while. Naruto then sat down and started meditating. He recovered 20,100 per hour normally, and when he was meditating he recovered 221,000 per hour. It would take Naruto a bit less than half an hour to recover his chakra to the max, so he started immediately. The quicker he could remove Kisame's signature from Samehada, the better, since he could start training with Samehada after that. Naruto had essentially all week to pump chakra into Samehada. He would spend around 3 hours a day leveling up and then spend the rest ingraining his chakra signature on Samehada. That is how his week went. He managed to get to level 78. Leveling up became quite hard as taking down Jonin level opponents took quite a lot of effort and mental strength, as they were filled with tricks. Even now they were surprising Naruto with new tactics, but it worked wonders on his personal power. Naruto had also pumped over 8 million chakra into Samehada, but it had only removed Kisame's signature by a quarter. Definitely not enough to safely have it out in the village. It would take Naruto around a month before he could get enough chakra into Samehada to have true ownership over it. Naruto had to meet up with his team again. They had been together as a team for over 5 months now, and Guy Sensei said that he had a very important announcement to make. They met up early in the morning at Training Ground 9 and Guy seemed shocked to see the 3 of them. The only time they had seen Guy the past week was the first day when he told them to meet with him in a week's time, so they had plenty of time to train, and by the looks of it, all 3 of them made extreme improvements. Sasuke and Shino looked pretty much the same as before, but the air around them had taken a complete turn, as if they weren't the naive genin they were before. Now they seemed like true Chunin rank shinobi. Ha ha ha, my youthful students, it is great to see that all three of you have improved. Guy shouted at the three of them. All three of them smiled at their sensei. It was hard to hate the man after all. So sensei, what was so urgent for us to meet up? Sasuke asked. Guy became serious. I have nominated you guys for the Chunin exams that are happening in the Land of Wind. If you guys agree to do them, then we will leave tomorrow and arrive in 3 days' time, just in time for the start of the Chunin exams. Guy said in full seriousness. This shocked the three of them. They didn't expect to be nominated for the Chunin exams this early on. After all, they hadn't even been together as a team for 6 months, and if they managed to pass, then it would be one of the fastest records of becoming Chunin. Naruto had no problems with taking the Chunin exams. He was confident in defeating any genin team, so there was no problem with him agreeing and signing the paper that Guy gave to them. Sasuke was confident in passing them, so he signed without hesitation either, and Shino, well, he had signed them before even Naruto could. The determination in him burned like an inferno, and he had needed this past week to calm himself. Guy smiled. He knew even before asking the Hokage for permission that the three would agree to take the exam, and it looked like he wasn't wrong. They each left to make preparations, Guy to inform the Hokage of the team's decision and the others to inform their parents, and Naruto decided to do a thing he had been wanting to do but didn't see an opportunity to do it. Namely, unsealing a part of the Kyuubi's seal would allow him to take a small part of chakra from the Kyuubi without actually having to complete the quest that the Kyuubi had given him. Naruto went home and sat on his bed. He had prepared several seals that would help him in controlling the seal that was put on the Kyuubi. First, he would need to unseal the seal on his stomach. This would allow the Kyuubi's chakra to flow through him more easily. Since it was already allowing the Kyuubi's chakra to enter him freely, it would make it even better if it was unsealed further. He applied around 25 different seals to the seal on his stomach and activated them while entering his inner world, where he appeared directly in front of the Kyuubi. A deep and mighty voice spoke out. I see what you're trying to do, and I must say it wouldn't work. The seal your father applied is far too complicated for seals at your level to work. While it would weaken the 8 trigram seal by maybe 1%, it wouldn't accomplish much. The best way would be to rip a part of the seal off and create a contract with me, the Kyuubi said to Naruto. Naruto was surprised. He now knew the name of the seal that was used on the two of them, and the fact that the Kyuubi had told him that his efforts wouldn't amount to much made him quite disappointed. But he was also surprised at the simple solution that the Kyuubi offered. What do you mean by making a contract with you? Naruto asked. The Kyuubi chuckled. Well, I won't give you my chakra for free. Currently I have to view the parts of your memories that are accessible to view the outside world. If you grant me access to see the world through your senses, then I'll give you access to a part of my chakra. It would be up to you afterward to control it. The Kyuubi told Naruto. That is quite a good proposal. The deal would be more than fair, as I would become much stronger than I am right now. Although I do have one thing that I wanted to ask, and that is, can I use your chakra to imprint my signature onto Samehada? Naruto asked the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi shook his massive head. You can't. We are two different entities with different chakra signatures. It would make me the owner instead of you, and that would make it hostile toward you, the Kyuubi informed Naruto. That's quite unfortunate. I hoped I could speed up the process, but it's fine. Now let's get to the deal, Naruto said. Come closer. You need to be touching me for the deal to work, and you will need to rip off a very small part of the sealing paper that's on the middle of the cage. Make sure that it is a very small piece. It would not be nice for either of us if you activate the security seals on the sealing paper. Once you're done with that, I simply connect a part of my chakra to you and we're good to go, the Kyuubi said. The process was simple. Naruto ripped off a small enough piece to weaken the seal and touched one of the Kyuubi's claws, who then connected his chakra to Naruto. Naruto would gain access to around 10% of the Kyuubi's chakra. What Naruto didn't know is that the Kyuubi's chakra started leaking from his body in the outside world, immediately alerting every single shinobi above the rank of Jonin. A squad of Umbu entered Naruto's apartment just 10 seconds after Naruto started leaking the Kyuubi's chakra. Luckily for Naruto, they saw that Naruto was simply giving off the Kyuubi's chakra and didn't seem to be in a demonic chakra-induced rage. The Hokage arrived in full battle-ready gear. He was prepared to seal the Kyuubi once again. He was glad that his worries were unfounded. When Naruto opened his eyes, all he could say was one word. Oops. Chapter 40, on the way to Sunagakure. Naruto, what you just did was very reckless and dangerous. Tapping into the Kyuubi's chakra is a very dangerous thing that requires attention from me. The Hokage was cut off before he could say anything else. Don't worry too much, Hokage Jiji. I simply made a deal with the overgrown fox to use 10% of his chakra. I just wasn't expecting it to leak out, so I didn't set up any seals that would contain it in my house. Naruto waved his hand without worry, his hand on which his nails resembled claws. The Hokage took a big sigh and shook his head. Naruto, I can see that you are capable of controlling yourself, even with the Kyuubi's chakra running through you, so I will let it slide. But the next time that you do something like this, please inform me before going ahead and doing it, the Hokage said to Naruto. Naruto smiled sheepishly and promised to inform the Hokage before doing something that involves the Kyuubi. Since it was still quite early in the day, Naruto decided to spend the remainder of his day pumping chakra into Samehada. He already had most of his belongings in his inventory, so there was no need for him to pack anything. All that was left was the time he needed to wait before leaving for Suna. Time passed quickly as he spent day and night pumping chakra into Samehada. He would meet up with his team at the main gate of Konoha. He arrived there at the time he was given and saw that both Sasuke, Shino, and Guy were already there. They were the only team participating in the Chunin exams this time. Usually, there'd be multiple teams participating for each village, but most Genin teams were not experienced enough, and those that were had already passed earlier that year. Yo, you guys ready? Naruto greeted his team. Sasuke scoffed, of course we are, this is just the Chunin exams, nothing special. Shino simply nodded while Guy started shouting about youth. They quickly set out. It would take a day and a half at least to get there at Chunin speeds, and it was better to arrive there a bit earlier since it would allow the team to prepare themselves. The team started heading southwest towards the land of rivers where they would stay at an inn close to the land of winds border. They would then set out the next day and arrive in Sunagakure in around a day's time. Traveling through the desert was quite hard after all. Their journey through the land of fire was a peaceful one. They met some merchants but didn't approach them. Luckily they didn't meet a ferocious S-rank ninja that was trying to kill them, so the traveling was calm. But it didn't remain that way for long. They met a group of bandits. Most bandits would try to run away the second they saw that someone had a village headband, but it seemed that these bandits were not that smart. Safe to say they were swiftly taken care of. Sasuke used a fire jutsu, Shino used his insects, and Naruto simply tore through them with taijutsu. Guy expected a more severe reaction from Sasuke and Shino, but after seeing a person like Kisame and fighting through his killing intent, killing a few bandits seemed almost insignificant to what they felt that day. They continued their journey with no problems and arrived in a small village where they booked an inn just as the sun began to set. They had a light meal and went to sleep for the night. Since each of them had their own rooms, Naruto decided to seal his room off and started pumping chakra into Samehada again. He made some progress and it soon became 6 in the morning as he heard knocks on his door. It was Guy waking the three of them up. They had a light breakfast and headed out. The further southwest they went to, more sandy their surroundings became. Water grew scarce and fertile land started to slowly disappear. They had officially crossed into the land of wind. Now they would have a long trek through the sandy desert before they arrived in Sunagakure. Sunagakure was quite a poor village. Its main form of trading was in gold and different kinds of metals, but that was it. They sold a few puppets and had a small number of tourists. The village was economically quite far behind the other villages. Even Kirigakure village in the middle of a civil war had more money than them. Team 9 traveled faster than they expected as weather conditions were quite good and arrived 3 hours before the sun would set. They arrived at the massive walls that surrounded Sunagakure and were stopped by a team of Chunin. Since they were allies, there was no problem with them entering, especially when they were told that they were participating in the Chunin exams. They were escorted to a hotel that was dedicated to host the teams of Konoha. Since there was only one team participating, they were actually made fun of by some of the ninjas that saw them. Not that it mattered much. The hotel wasn't that great compared to even the inn they stayed at, but it was better than most other hotels in Suna. Naruto could see why Suna was called the weakest of the 5 major hidden villages. The team would now have plenty of time to rest before the exams officially started, so Naruto decided to visit Sunagakure street market. The street was filled with people as they were all riled up because of the Chunin exams. Some even asked Naruto if he was participating. One thing that was disappointing about Sunagakure was the number of thieves. Just entering the market, Naruto counted 3 people that were stealing things. One even tried to pickpocket him. Safe to say they wouldn't try it again. The market was nothing special, most things he could find in Konoha. The only actually interesting thing he found was the food vendor, which sold extra spicy curry. While it was good, it didn't even begin to compare to Ichiraku ramen, so Naruto was quite disappointed by Suna. Not that he would say it out loud. All he had to do now was wait for the exams to start.